in his favor. He has a challenging shotgun close, and Wood's gonna get it!
Do some damage. Nicolai from the backside! Finds them again! It would be a big one. He's finding the first. Can he find it? Swing again!
What? Left in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. Make that a 1v1. Oh my goodness, Nitro sell out. And who's gonna stop him?
Two days of matches have all led up to this. I'm Lynx, joined by Harrison. And what have they led up to, Harrison? Well, they've led up to the closed qualifiers. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited. Are you just going to keep waving the whole time? That felt like a very prolonged wave, I'm going to be honest.
I was going to do it until you mentioned it.
All right, fair enough. All right.
So it worked. It's our final day, like you said.
It is.
There are
well,
16
final day
teams.
of this qualifier.
Oh yeah, there's another qualifier next weekend. But for this qualifier, it's our final day. There are 16 teams left, and only 4 will make it out alive. They've been sectioned off into their own little mini groups, of course, 4 groups of 4, and each in those groups, teams will play 2 best of 3s, single elimination until one stands. And we've got some fan favorites, of course.
That's true.
You know, Surf, Mystic, Gusic, who have come out of literally
the
nowhere.
Invite 2025 champions.
Yeah, I guess so. Who have they've only lost to, they lost to Surf and Mystic?
I believe so, yes.
And that was it?
Yep. They've,
Something like that.
They not only have they had a very good run, Surf you mentioned earlier, only team to come out of the open qualifiers complete or with no losses. Flawless. And if we want to take a look real quick, we have some clips that we've amalgamated to present to y'all. Give you a little bit of a recap, a little bit of a taste of what we've seen. Actually, Harrison, I don't know if you watched it. I personally was a big fan of that Shadow Realm Outlast game, mostly because, no offense to Outlast, ended in a 7-3 for Shadow Realm, which, for again, a team I'm not as familiar with, that come out over such a with such a dominant scoreline over a CL team. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, Shadow Realm, I didn't recognize it first, but I know Millies and Shiba have been together for a little bit. I can't remember what their team name was before.
If you can't remember it, I simply do not.
Because it was one of those meme names like didn't ask or just shoot back or something like that. Now they're Shadow Realm, and of course I've actually known Shiba. I've known Brandon for a couple years now, almost as long as I've known Chap Penguin Lips, Jared, the coach of One Shot. So they're, of course, you know, I'm kind of hoping for their success. I'm a little bit biased because, you know, Shiba's been grinding for a while. But I'm excited for Gusic for a very particular reason, Carter. For 2 very particular reasons. One, they have been finding incredible success in our qualifiers.
Oh god, this game.
Despite, we're not going to talk about this game. Despite the, I guess, unfamiliarity that the scene has with that team, they've come, again, literally out of nowhere, almost like Aggro did back in the previous season's calls. They're just slapping everyone. But reason number 2, Gusic are down a player. They don't have backs.
For what map?
I don't know if it's for the first map or for the first game.
I am under the impression it is for the first map, but I'm not an admin, so I will not make an official call in that regard.
Oh yeah, first map. So, EJ.
Oh,
Electronic J.
That's not what that stands for.
I know, it's because his first name is Eric and his last name starts with a J. It's his initials. Electronic J is going to be playing in place of Bax. So, we get to make fun of him.
Yes.
And it's going to be incredible.
Not only that, a lot of you may not know, back when I first started casting, in an odd twist of fate, EJ was on one of the first teams I ever casted. There are no VODs that exist of this league, I'm pretty sure, so you unfortunately cannot go back and see how bad I was. But I actually have a long history with EJ, and I've not casted him in, God, it's almost December? Probably like almost 2 years at this point. It's very, very strange for me that might happen. But yeah, that is kind of important. And as I'm sure you all saw, our first game up will include Team Gusic, and it is, well, Team Gusic versus Valkyrie. And Harrison, I think this also might be a bit odd for you. It's a Valkyrie roster that doesn't have JJ on it, something you and I are certainly not used to casting.
Yeah, I haven't... Yeah, the last time I casted Valkyrie, the org, was when JJ was on it. It's been a while since he was on Valkyrie and then Project Neo and subsequent teams. But here is our bracket. Of course, Surf will go up against St. Louis Leviathans. The winner of that plays the winner of Aerial Arise versus Wichita Wolves. And we're actually catching that round 2 game, so stay tuned for that after the first one. In, I almost called them Group B. I guess we'll call them the red bracket. Mystic versus Didn't Ask. Of course, Mystic being the favorites there. Frenchie & Co. versus Windstorm. green bracket has Outlast and Eclectic, and as well Gusic versus Valkyrie. That will be our first on-stream game. And the final bracket, the orange bracket, has Asylum Patients versus Achieve Esports. If you don't know who Asylum Patients are, that's Fernie's Tacos minus Poise plus Gucci Gang Snows, verified Twitter user. And last but not least, In Control Nation versus Shadow Realm. And before the stream, before we went live, you know, you and I, as well as Grave, Max, and Ferme, we did a little mock-up. We did a little bracket prediction. Who doesn't love predictions in Siege, because they always go according to plan. Never do we ever have any kind of a weird upset. And my God, if St. Louis Leviathans beat Surf, it'll be probably the biggest upset that Siege has ever seen.
Can you imagine if the first loss Surf gets in SCS Season 6 so far is to St. Louis Leviathans, who I believe were the very bottom of top 16, that 16th place team to make it in? That would be a hell of an upset, to be sure. And as you can see, as the brackets are coming in, or the predictions are coming in, Surf, it's a pretty hard to root against them when it comes to that first bracket, even against a team like Aerial Arise, who we have beating Wichita, but I will say, Aerial Arise versus Wichita, I imagine that'll be a close one. But then moving to the green bracket, Outlast Team Gusic. How can we not root against what appears to be one of the greatest teams to ever play the game, Team Gusic? Joking a little bit, of course, but might be able to upset Outlast. And Harrison, I will say, red bracket also some upset potential. We do, of course, have Mystic coming out on top, but I don't think that second spot when it comes to between Frenchie and Co and Windstorm, I don't think it's as certain as people might think.
Yeah, Frenchie and Co and Windstorm, I definitely think is a toss-up, as is Outlast Gusic. Now, of course, you know, Gusic has beat Outlast, and Outlast are looking a little bit shaky. Mr. B not quite fully acclimated to the team, but they are still a Challenger League roster to be feared. Same thing with Asylum Patients. We have them beating Achieve Esports. Shadow Realm taking the dub over Inc. Shadow Realm looked a lot less shaky than Inc. did. And while my heart wants the upset for Shadow Realm,
me too.
Asylum Patients, we still have going through, of course, again, Challenger League team. They already played against Shadow Realm in the normal, in the open qualifier section. I think they won 7-5.
Yes.
So
it was close.
Should history repeat itself, these are our 4 teams that we have predicted making it in: Surf, Team Gusic, Mystic, and Asylum Patients. So we don't even really need to have the games, do we? That's it.
No.
Say hello to your new 4 SCS6 teams.
Yeah, and we'll also toss up kind of the de facto rankings on the side. Not really indicative of where exactly they'll place, just in more so in terms of when we go out from the top. That's who's going to make it in according to our predictions. Things could certainly change. Surf could lose to St. Louis Leviathans. I'm sure there's at least one reality where that happens. Then you go 5 through 8, who's eliminated just before them, and down we go. And Harrison, that 14th place team, Valkyrie, they are one of the teams we'll be seeing playing today. And if our predictions are correct, they will lose to one of the teams that will go through to the closed qualifiers, Team Gusic, if that prediction serves correctly.
Yeah, and keep in mind as well, ladies and gentlemen, with these quote-unquote power rankings, 9th through 16th could be literally any order. It's literally just who we think is getting first rounded. So it's not indicative of, you know, your placement within that top 16. Like, obviously, we're not going to sit In Control and Valkyrie in the bottom 4 while having, you know, St. Louis Leviathans and Eclectic above them. So it's all just interchangeable. It's just who we think will be eliminated first. Same thing with 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's just who we think will be eliminated in the second round. So, of course, let us know your predictions in chat. We'll probably have, I imagine, you know, what is it called? The
I don't know.
Match predictions, like the built-in prediction thing in Twitch chat. We have that, right?
I don't know. I imagine in between maps we'll probably go perusing through Twitter and be like, oh, you know, JJ thinks this. And we'll put it on stream and be like, oh, here's JJ's prediction. Sure, we'll do that.
Speaking of Jay, are we going to do the... do we have the JJ thing?
I was about to say.
For me.
There's as some of you might not be aware, JJ has a long history of not making leagues. And today he begged a higher power to potentially give him some luck in today's game. Harrison, I believe we have a prayer to recite, as you can see.
It's so funny.
It is.
He even took a picture in front of a church later.
Yes.
Hashtag
So,
God is good.
I hope we can all wish JJ luck on today's journey to not choke another league qualifiers. It's a difficult thing for many a young player to overcome, but
especially against Surf.
Especially against Surf, who he might have to play if he can. Not only does he have to overcome Surf Harrison, he also has to overcome a team with Og on it, one of the better underage players we've seen in quite a while. So certainly doesn't have the easiest bracket in the world to come through, but I think you might be able to do it. Not only is he,
Maybe.
trying to redeem himself in terms of qualifiers, he's also been hitting the gym, looking real good.
He does, dude. JJ's getting ripped, but he does have people at his side, such as Chosen, such as Trevmac. Love Trevor. But is it going to be enough against Aerial Arise? JJ is brand new to the Wichita Wolves team. Aerial Arise is a pug stack of 5 of the most seasoned players in T3 that we have seen in NA. So that match is going to be quite the toss-up, I would imagine. But of course, that's not going to be on stream.
No.
So sucks for you all that we won't have that game. But we can't do that game and the Surf game. So, sacrifices, unfortunately, must be made. Of course, Team Gusic versus Valkyrie, though, is, well, I shouldn't say assuredly won't, but hopefully won't disappoint. Fingers crossed for that one. And we want to take a look at the rosters. Team Gusic has Amp, Bax, Unlimited, Gnar, and Teddy. And of course, Bax will be subbed out for map number 1. Maybe game number 1, stay tuned, but probably just map number 1. And EJ will be taking his place. And on the side of Valkyrie, we have Exum, Hax, Shrady, David, and Kyle Wi-Fi Galati.
Yes. So as I know some people might be eager to see, we will have the first map, EJ versus Wi-Fi. That'll certainly be a fun little storyline to have going on. But there are quite a few players of note on Valkyrie. Not, diminishing any of them, but Exum for a while had a lot of a good reputation behind him as one of the more promising players in T3. Another one of the French Canadians we like to see. But on the side of Team Gusic, Harrison, I have to say, on the one game we saw on stream yesterday, I was incredibly impressed by what Gnar had to offer. I think he was 17 kills by the end of the game on Nomad in Smoke. Now, to be fair, some of those Smoke kills were because he had to clutch 2v4s or 1v3s, so on and so forth, and bring the round back for his team. But the fact that he was still able to do that, and again, on roles that aren't exactly the most aggressive, I was very impressed by him on that roster.
Yeah, Gnar was an incredible part of Team Gusic's success. I've also heard in a lot of the off-stream games, people are talking about Teddy, like he's the Gnar are the 2 support players. Gnar is on flank watch.
Funny how that works out, isn't it?
Teddy is on hard breach, and I guess whatever on defense. But Valkyrie has Frenchies.
That is true.
So we can't count them out just yet. You got Exum, you got David, Hax. Wi-Fi's there. Wi-Fi's cool. But he's actually, I think he's actually right now through the quals. His team has been stat tracking. Wi-Fi is actually the highest rated player on the roster. So
I've also not casted Wi-Fi in a while since was he on Toyota Camry way back like a year ago?
The Toyota Camry with who is it? It was Wi-Fi, Schnitzel, Hixer, Rice, and Shu.
Yes. I'm amazed you got that off the top of your head.
They traded out a couple players. Like I remember, I think Wi-Fi left. They had Nacho, I think.
I didn't even remember that. I couldn't. If you had asked me if Nacho was a player I've casted, I probably would have said I don't know.
Nacho's cool.
No, I'm not saying Nacho's a bad guy. It's just I have no memory of him, which is the issue.
It's mainly the name. Nacho. Yeah. The name Nacho tends to stick with me. But Gusic have also been a fan. I remember what was the on-stream game? Villa.
I'm sorry. What did you ask? I was thinking about something.
Gusic's on-stream game. It was Villa.
Yeah,
right?
It was Villa. Sorry,
okay.
I myself was thinking about. I was like, oh, what maps do I think we're gonna go to? Well, it's a qualifier, so we can expect Club or Villa. Then I heard you say Villa, and I was like, wait, is he talking about maps?
I have no idea what maps we're going to.
Well, we don't know either right now. We do not have the vetoes done. In fact, I do believe, Harrison, if you have anything else you want to say, we might send it to a quick break to let those vetoes get done. But do you have anything else you want to say? Get out of the way before the pre-show comes to a close.
No.
All right. That being said, toss to a quick break, and once those vetoes are done, we'll be right back. So don't go anywhere. We've got Gusic versus Valkyrie up next.
government has acknowledged professional video gamers as athletes.
The crowd, everyone's cheering the team on, you make friends, these are people you talk to, you play with online. It's all about community, it's being part of something that you're incredibly passionate about.
Oh, I love the smell of a cup of joe in the morning. With roach. Oh, hello.
A letter has arrived, sir.
A letter. For me. You have been cordially invited to compete in the 2022. Gather round, everyone, and hear the tale of the NerdStreet Winter Championships. There once was a tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. Players rose from their beds from the east to the west to compete and prove which players were best. Through weeklies and monthlies, the hype did climb, as soon came the grand finals. Locations in due time. Aspiration and community was preached to the masses. Amateurs became legends. Mavericks supporting their...
I was gonna say glasses.
The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We called them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds. Oh, how I love that story. I think we will compete. What do you say, Chiefs?
I can compete, sir.
I suppose better bring the KD up. And you should too. After all, if you're a competitor, this is the circuit for you.
Seconds left. It's gonna come down.
We're making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the drop three. Stunning here from. Welcome back, everybody. That was a little bit shorter than I expected. We are finally here, about to get ready to jump into Valkyrie versus Team Gusic. Still waiting just a little bit longer, but I promise it won't be too much of a delay. If you're just joining us, I'm Lynx, joined by Crow, who is still waving. He has not stopped since the beginning of the show. Now he stopped. We can get on now. So where do you think we're going? I know we started talking about it a little bit before we jumped to the break. What are you feeling? Is it going to be our, 18th clubhouse of the qualifier?
Probably.
Is it going to be a bank?
I highly doubt that for some reason.
No, we're not going to bank.
I don't think we're going to bank.
For some reason. You just can't imagine a reason why we would.
I can't imagine. Oh, there's bank.
Wow,
going.
it's the first ban. Crazy.
Oh, no.
Wow. Hey, we're not going to club,
Oh,
though.
hey, Coast.
Hey, if we go to 3 maps, this might not be terrible.
Well, we got to get through Oregon and Villa first. So.
That is true.
The teams banned the fun maps right off the bat. Valkyrie,
Yeah,
I guess, wanting to be boring, and Gusic wanting to go back to a map that they've already played on stream.
It's a qualifier. How much much
also
Valkyrie they do
T3.
in? Yeah.
Yeah, T3 plays a lot of these maps. So, although, you know, with the way Gusic has been playing, and they're up against Frenchies, we might have an entertaining Oregon. We have a bit of an aggressive Oregon. Who knows? Oregon can be made fun if the teams feel like it.
Plus,
Villa's almost always fun, but
yeah,
Oregon's hard.
And at the same time, if we're talking about, like, say, Nar earlier, I mentioned, who was going pretty crazy on a smoke yesterday. Oregon is a map where playing close with the shotgun, having that shotgun SMG-11 combo can really serve you on sites like dorms, basement to a lesser extent, but definitely dorms is a site where there's so many spots where you can play with that shotgun and have great effect. You can play in pit, inside a generator, contesting the reinforced wall or the doorway. You have a lot of options, and I'm sure a player like Nar is gonna feel really happy playing on Oregon, at least in that position. I don't know how the team feels overall. I'm still very newly introduced to them, so I'm not familiar with their map pools, their tendencies, or not as familiar as I would like to be. But it is Valkyrie's pick, Harrison, so I imagine they're feeling pretty comfortable here as well. But it's also Oregon. It's pretty well played.
Any self-respecting team knows how to play Oregon. It's like when you become a team, it's like one of the first maps you scrim.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we want to get our fundamentals down. We want to get our roles all set, yada, yada, yada. We're going to practice, you know, like Oregon and Club. Those are usually the two top beginner maps. So everyone should be comfortable on this map. I don't doubt that both Valkyrie and Gusic are perfectly happy going here. Especially with Gusic's play style, you can play a fast Oregon. It can be a little difficult, it can be tricky. You've really got to be on top of your coordination and timing, most importantly, but you can play it fast. And if there's anything we know about Gusic from that Villa game, I mean, they were executing oftentimes with a minute 45, minute 30 left on the clock. And if you're doing that on a map like Oregon, you really, really know what you're doing. You really have the map figured out. So, although this is Valkyrie's map pick, I still got to say the pressure's on them, just with how utterly dominant Gusic has been throughout the entire qualifier so far.
Especially when their reputation isn't just, world eaters and an extremely good team amongst, or extremely team to be feared, I guess is a better way to phrase it, amongst, I would say some pretty tried and tested T3 teams like JJ on Wichita Wolves. He was saying it. Gunnar was saying it, though they did end up beating Gusic. That team certainly was a bit frustrated during their game yesterday. It was also close, exactly. So for Valkyrie, the pressure is definitely on them, not only to, at the bare minimum, make this one close, but to try to win out that map pick, because I'm worried if we go to Gusic Sevilla that if they don't win that map one, it's going to be a 2-0 series just because of how feared this team is amongst some of these players. And again, you mentioned how quickly they were executing on the attack, and minute 45, minute 30, it's not going to be as easy on a map like Oregon, but one thing they did really well in their defense was capitalizing on mistakes made by the attack. They weren't getting aggressive or, say, taking fights when an attacker exposed themselves, but repositioning in a way that once the attack kind of started to put themselves in an uneven position, they were very quick to tip the scales against the attack and into their favor. Now, can you do that pretty well in Oregon? I'd say so, especially when the attack can sometimes have a bit of a tricky time gaining footing on sides like basement, trying to push down back tower stairs or down freezer stairs. You have a lot of opportunity to do that. You do have a sub on the roster as well right now, so how well practiced are they with EJ? We'll have an answer to a lot of these questions on map number 1.
I just joined the Parsec.
Yeah? You seen it too?
I forgot that was his name.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a fun game.
Are we allowed to acknowledge that?
I don't think so.
All right. Well,
that's all we'll say about that.
We're getting R's from the teams. EJ has put the R in chat, and there we go. We're gonna load right into the lobby, into the operator band screen. Wow! Look at that! Look at how cool it is with that.
Wow! That with that
dumbass cat.
That cat.
It's staring into my soul. I don't want to look at it.
This is already a silly first game.
I don't want to look at it.
First man coming up, Harrison. Is it Thatcher?
Probably Thatcher.
Probably, I'd guess. I think he's not spoiling himself.
Oh!
Actually, this makes sense. They banned Zofia yesterday in their Villa game. We've seen them do this before.
Okay, so they want to take away... Who probably plays that? Shrady or Exum, I would imagine.
Maybe Exum.
Exum is an incredible entry player. So not only are you taking the Zoe away from him, there's the Thatcher ban. Oh, I don't have to cover the screen anymore. But Zoe has been a pretty good ban on Oregon. I remember when JJ was pulling that out back in like EPS and stuff. Taking the Zoe away means that you rip a lot of utility away from the attack in terms of both burn and destruction. So that's going to make Flores' stock rise a little bit. It's going to make it important to bring maybe both the Iana and the Ashe to replace that Zoe. But the defense bans are very painfully standard.
I actually don't think yesterday, I think all 4 games there was a Valkyrie ban. So this is 5 in a row for me. It's just the world we live in.
I think it may have been like that day 1 as well.
So there's potential. We're currently at 9 games in a row of Valkyrie bans on stream.
Ooh.
What a wonderful world this would be.
So I'm sure you've all now seen what we were talking about.
Nope. Just ignore it.
Okay.
Oh man. 6 picking off the Ying right away. Thought we'd get an exciting one. Exciting first round. That's not a bad.
Moment.
It's not a bad 6 pick. No, it's a little bit different. They are 6 picking to the Ashe without the Zofia on the board. In terms of the utility, it makes sense. But at the same time, it is in terms of the actual play of Fernie's Tacos moment. But I understand it. Gonna scare them a little bit too. They're gonna be worried that Ying's on the board. It has its effects, has its uses. At the same time, though, EJ has also decided to rock the Thunderbird. Not an operator we see all too often.
She does have a C4. She does make certain spots on the map a little bit more anchorable, especially common places that are naded. You can see there's one right by the corner of the kid's bedroom doorway where the shield is placed. There's one behind blue bunk, and there's one... Where is it? Below? I can't see. No, it's top white. Okay. Yeah, so again, pretty common positions where you'll have someone sit, where you want someone to stay for the entirety of the round. And, of course, again, she's also got that C4. She's 3 speed. She's got a rifle on the defense. And EJ will go for an early spawn peek, unfortunately, for him. Won't catch anyone, but hey, didn't do anything back to him. No harm, no foul. You've also got downstairs presence that EJ is commanding along with one of his teammates. I believe that's going to be Amp on the alibi. Droning in, Mental is attempting to find this frag. They know that there's people down here, and the pre-fire not going to land for either player. Amp now repositioning behind the pillars, and Lion's scan goes out, but Mental's not going to get aggressive. He's going to wait for some support from his team in order to accurately pinch out this alibi instead of just taking the one.
That's exactly what you want to see, not getting too ahead of yourselves. EJ will rock right in the middle of 2 drones, so certainly, unless there was a miraculous coincidence, I imagine he's now been spotted. Some shots in the spear will also give away his position. David cooking a frag, either to send towards Amp or EJ, could be either one. Don't believe he actually might have put it way back in his pocket, so given that moment, Amp and EJ will both rotate back down, move back towards the site, or at least coalesce somewhere around the map, but I imagine it will be the former. Meanwhile, currently have Wi-Fi opening up that attic wall to try to get one element of their push underway. Looking like it might be a big window take or a white stairs take, Harrison, because all we're seeing right now, that attic wall's open, but no master bedroom presence whatsoever. First kill, by the way, comes onto that Maverick. Teddy has pushed all the way up inside of attic and looking for a second as well.
Oh, and here's the C4. It's going to get sniped out of the air. Well played by Shrady. Not able to land any shots, though, on the retreating Mute. No, there we go. Teddy will be caught. So while he does get aggressive and kill the Maverick, he'll lose his life. So he'll pay the ultimate price for that 1-for-1, though. I don't believe Wi-Fi actually got a big enough hole open so that you can move through the attic walls. So if so, that's huge for the defense, as Unlimited now plays right next to the big window, watching the jump in as well as the bottom of the white stairs, but can't quite get an angle, but EJ can. David, the Zofia, now dead, and a one-man advantage claimed for Team Gusic with only 50 seconds remaining. Mental is now the next to take up this position on top white. There's one outside big window. I believe that's going to be Hacks, with Shrady repelling on the other side of the map over towards Armory. He'll get spotted by the cam, though, and here's the swing from Amp, dealing a lot of damage and halting the Lions' progress. The longer Shrady takes here, the worse it is for his team, especially now as Hacks goes down. The angles of attack now severely limited, though Mental does get a frag of his own. His teammate is immediately traded. It's now just the Ashe in a 1 versus 3 with barely any time remaining, and he can't do anything. EJ with the final kill and Gusic with the first round.
And quite a bit of damage done with that kill from Teddy onto Wi-Fi. As you mentioned, that hole might have been able to get through. I'm not sure, but I highly doubt if he could move through it, it would have been comfortable and likely would have given away his position. Stopped the attack and a lot of progress that would have been made had that attic wall been opened up, or even if they had gotten the hole opened up and the mute was taken down. He's able to get that kill, and sure, he goes 1 for 1, but he delays so much time. The attack is forced to start picking up the pieces, trying to work up right, work a pick on that angle. One opportunity doesn't present itself, and since they never decided to take the opportunity to clear out Master Bedroom, also gives an opportunity for the defense to play inside of that area as well. I believe Amp rotated up Armory Stairs, and he was the player playing inside of Master Bedroom, and since they placed so much focus on those white stairs and attic, half their push was shut down. They had to rotate. It allowed Amp to have ample impact, no pun intended, inside of that room. And overall, it was a very well-played round from Team Gusic, getting a very impactful pick that, while traded out, they capitalized and pushed the entire round on.
That pun was intended, and you can't convince me otherwise.
It was a little bit intended. It was, I thought of the word ample, and I was about to say it, and I was like, ooh, that's a pun shit. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I just half and half.
Now Gusic will go down the basement. You saw Gusic are already in chat, by the way, after 1 round. Teddy claiming
what
that...
what else do we expect?
That's true. Teddy claiming that Ying was 6th pick too, and that is why EJ is on Warden, but alas, he is incorrect. Mental has stuck the Ash this time. Of course, Cade is now in play as on the bottom floor. You know, you kind of need that, because otherwise Hibana's going to be able to open up those hatches for free. So there's a Cade, I believe, covering the E-box hatch as well as one of the E-box walls from bunker side, and Teddy's even got one placed right outside the elbow wall for once that player, you know, falls back and does the late reinforcement. It'll be tougher for the attack to open up. They will again have to force their Maverick in rather than be able to use the Hibana unless they go for laundry security, in which case, you know, she will actually find some usefulness. EJ, despite being on the Warden and expecting a Ying, is on the roam, though he will fall back very quickly after spotting a drone and even getting Lion Scan. That's a really early use of it from Valkyrie. I don't really know why. They just kind of like spotted EJ and were like, hey, hit it, but no one was in range to capitalize. So I gotta say, to me, that seems like kind of a waste. And especially against a team like Gusic who are really fluid, that's not great.
That is a little bit of a worry. I understand the usage. They were trying to find EJ, but as you said, with nobody in a position to really capitalize off it, all they had was Mental, who was too far away to get the frag. There was nobody in a cutoff that could have pinched with the Ash and made use of that intel. A little bit unfortunate, but he does still have 2 EE1Ds, and there's plenty of time left for them to be useful. One might hurt them later on, but I doubt it will do much. They do still need to start making progress on this attack, though. It's minute 20 seconds in, so it's understandable that they're only now starting to make forays into Freezer and Laundry as well. But EJ's continuing to get aggressive, and this might be a little bit unwarranted from the Warden. He's been getting incredibly aggressive this entire time. With the C4 as well, it's not a terrible position. I mean, Harrison, you mentioned how he thought the Ying was going to get 6 pick. His primary utility isn't really going to do a whole lot, especially since there's only a couple flashes on the board, and they'll be used to burn these ADSs. So probably just trying to get aggressive, get in the position where he could use his utility. There's also Amp currently playing down at the bottom of Big Tower Stairs, but with a minute left, it's now still a 5v5 as David and Mental finally start pushing more aggressively into Freezer.
They'll try for this duo take, but they're going to have to deal with Unlimited, they'll deal with aptly. Good night to the Jaeger. Beautiful shot from Mental, and that will start to open up this avenue, and Iana Clone comes in to gather some more info. There's no one behind the metal box, so Freezer, at least for right now, seems to be all clear. But just as I say that, David tries to take the aggressive stance and take the control, but he's shut down by Teddy. Now back to an even 4v4 with Diffuser in Laundry. Nara getting lit up by, I believe that's going to be Hacks, as Mental has now pushed all the way up. Is next to the softball that he had previously opened with his Ash charge, but Teddy's on for another kill. Down goes Strady, the Lion. Player who still had EE1 to use, he's left in his pocket, is dead, and Teddy will find a third before he's finally downed. Mental is going to have to make a play. He'll take out one, looking for the second, can't land it on Nar, and Wi-Fi is now stuck with 1 HP in a 1v2, and Nar shuts both of them down. Round 2 will go to Gusic.
That round was sort of sometimes symptomatic of what can happen on Basement. Despite Mental getting a very solid opening pick onto Unlimited, who I think actually, because he was leaning the way he was sort of giving himself up to the Ash, but could not get an angle on him based on the way he was leaning. Fortunately, gets taken down. That's a player inside a closet, but as often is the case on Basement, if you're just struggling to push in through Freezer, taking gunfights, the utility isn't really giving you any openings, and the same goes for Back Tower Stairs as well. You're forced to take those gunfights, and as we saw from Teddy, him especially, but Gusic overall were winning them every chance they got. Gusic, but specifically Teddy, was making great use of that single panel made looking into Back Tower Stairs, single-handedly shut down that push from that position. Amp, who was playing closer, didn't have to do any work because of how well the Cade was dispatching with everyone pushing from that area. And when they tried to push in through Laundry and Freezer to compensate for the men they lost and the lack of play their utility got in the round. Again, it's another situation where they just ended up losing those gunfights. That round, Valkyrie, they tried to use some of that utility. They tried to make their play, but Gusic, honestly, they just pushed so far back and still had angles with that they could contest Freezer, Laundry, and back tower stairs with. Gunfights just didn't go Valkyrie's way, and the second round went Gusic's.
So far, it was like... Even though Valkyrie had that opening pick, it's the reposition from Gusic. It's that fluidity with the retaking of positions that Valkyrie will, I guess, either just assumes is clear or just loses the second fight on. The Lion would have really helped. After you kill the Jaeger, if that Lion was hit, they wouldn't be able to retake in the closet.
Did they actually use all their EU1Ds?
No, I think Shrady died with at least one in pocket, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's true. I forgot. He was one of the first to die. You're right.
So, again, you know, the Lion being used really early with no capitalization, the Lion being ignored during the actual execute. So I'm going to be looking forward in the next few rounds of this attack is whether or not Valkyrie get better with those EE1Ds, because especially, again, against a team like Gusic and against really any team with any sort of fluidity, Lion can be such a powerful operator. They're just not really using him to his fullest. But here's the upstairs take. Mental already on top white. Shrady attempting to push from trophy. One EE1D goes out, but again, it doesn't really create the opening they're looking for.
E1D went out, and it was actually the attack who noticeably stood still during that. Of course, the defense did, but this is the problem. There's simply nobody contesting. Nobody on Kids Rappel right now. There's one on Big Window. There's one on right stairs, but neither of those can adequately stop Ant from getting the opening pick on Tomento, one of the key entries moving up those stairs. Now you can see David starting to rotate over. Hax will manage to find EJ. I believe that was a bit closer to the site. EJ may be getting a little bit over-aggressive, peeking that Showers Hall, but still a trade, still an even 4v4, and most importantly, the upstairs is still alive. Shrady just face checks Attic. Even if he had the adequate intel, still a bit of a risky gunfight to take. Again, Harrison, with nobody watching these angles. Now with Gnar down below as well, watching a vertical, it seems that not even that Gusic are necessarily one step ahead. It's that Valkyrie just aren't taking the necessary precautions and the necessary measures to counter what they're doing.
You're not going down the checklist. There was no drone in Attic. Like you said, no info, just face checking it. I mean, on a default upstairs hold with one guy in Kids, you're going to assume there's some dude in Attic. And at that point, you don't even need to kill him. You don't need to face check. Just force him back, quick peek him or something. Don't just stand in the doorway. And then, I mean, again, with every single upstairs hold, there's going to be shotgun holes from beneath. That is like Siege 101. You can even see it before you walk over it. That, like, Nard shouldn't have been able to get a free kill there. Now, you know, someone's going to get traded back finally. Unlimited is dead. Hax is going to go for the plant, but there's still gas canisters. Gnar has all of them left because the site pressure was so late. He's been able to, he's had the luxury of holding them. And Hax is now just going to have to force right through, very exposed. There's the capitalization from Gnar, a double kill on the round for him, leaving Wi-Fi alone in the 1v3. 17 seconds left. No time remaining, and he's not going to win the fight. A 3K for the Smoke and Gusic with their third round.
I mean, need we say more? The entire reason that round played out the way it did, the entire reason that final minute played out the way it did, was because of the mistakes made early on that Harrison and I highlighted. The lack of counterplay by Valkyrie. Not even necessarily the counterplay, just the lack of due diligence. Proper coordination, proper droning that you need in a game like this. And not even, I don't mean the game is in Valkyrie versus Gusic, I mean Siege. As you said, Harrison, that was about the most standard hold of kitchen dining, as meeting kitchen as you can get. Aside from EJ swinging Showers Hall for whatever reason, it was pretty much a play-by-play of what you normally expect. And yet there was no droning in Attic. They were face-checking. But the only reason it was a 2v3 at the end where Hax had to somehow find a spot to rotate and dodge that utility was because of the mistakes made earlier on. And I can't blame him for losing that round because the mistakes in the round was basically lost in the first minute and a half.
Really obvious mistakes for Valkyrie right now that they're going to need to shore up against Gusic, who, again, you know, despite their lack of clout, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase it. Their kind of unknownness. Can I say that? That makes sense? Seem like a relatively put-together team. Like, they're not making a lot of really beginner mistakes. I mean, yeah, they're playing super aggressively, and maybe, you know,
I'm sure that was a beginner level
they're going to
mistake.
get ahead of themselves. This is EJ Spawn Peak's freaking garage, okay?
That was a...
Yeah.
All right.
EJ's
We were
going to Spawn Peak's
just...
garage and die, but that's EJ. Yeah, you know, he's the outlier. Every rule has an exception. The rest of Gusic, though, very put together. And again, despite aggressive, it's not dumb. They're not playing like stupid, ranked, wildly swinging literally every angle they see. It's calculated. And sure, you know, very early in the round, they may just be peaking for any early picks and relying more on surprise than actual tactic. But the mid and late round for Gusic, especially on the defense, the mid to late round is very, very well played, especially with how passive they get in their utility play. I was going to say the mid to late round is very good on their attack too, but their mid to late round is still in like the first 2 minutes. So, yeah.
See Amp currently down below, still going for that same hold of kitchen that they like to do on dorms. The C4 goes out, but unbeknownst to Gusic, Valkyrie have already worked their way into master bedroom, so the C4 goes wide. It was close by to David, but not enough in range to do any sort of damage, as they have also rotated, as you can see, with the bedroom all opened, not going for that big window white attic play, instead going for something much more standard. Maybe they'll rotate to attic, maybe they'll rotate somewhere else, but they've opened up that bedroom wall, which caused them a lot of issues last time. You still see Shrady at big window, who can use his EU1Ds pretty safely from this position, while also denying some angles. But is this where things start to spiral out of control? Teddy gets the first pick for Gusic onto Hacks, but the Hibana's already used the vast majority of the utility she's needed to open up that bedroom wall. Another kill almost appears itself, but instead it's Shrady to get the second one for Valkyrie, but it's short-lived. The man count returns back to a mean state, a 3v3. As Valkyrie start to lose men, Team Gusic aren't exactly in the best positions, but they could be enough to counter Valkyrie. As look, Harrison, Shrady's out of EU1Ds. This take's gonna get a lot harder.
He's got stun, so maybe he could work to blind the Jaeger, but again, that player's gonna have support. But no, he exposed himself to Trophy. A rookie mistake for Unlimited. He'll go down, and Amp and Nar are pretty low on HP. This is the best chance that Valkyrie have had to nab a round. Are they finally gonna be able to do it? Wi-Fi's getting the bomb down. Here's the swing in from Attic. David gets Nar. It's just Amp, 1 HP. He'll land the shot against David. Beautiful stuff from the Alibi. But Shrady, he's outside big window. This is a tough fight to win, especially with Wi-Fi inside the site. He'll die, though. Wi-Fi, you got to get away faster than that. And Amp, he's going to land it! The quad kill for Amp Shrady! You only needed to land 1 bullet, but he won't even react to the Alibi. The quad kill from Amp, and the 1v3 gives Gusic their 4th defense in a row.
I mean, Harrison, he crossed big window. He just crossed. He just rotated over. It's not even like he was on... If you're facing big window from the inside, it's not even like he was on the left side. It didn't have an angle on the bomb. He was on the right. He was on the right. He had the angle watching it.
Amp didn't even land like a first bullet dumpster on Shrady either. Shrady had so much time to react.
Look at that.
Those were body shots. Body shots, dog.
I mean, that's just... And here's the sad thing, Harrison. It's giving me flashbacks to the French Eco Inc. game yesterday. I mean, they were gift wrapped, shipped for free of charge an opening pick thanks to EJ doing whatever the hell he did, right? Free. Sure, it gets traded later on, but look what they got in terms of control. They've opened up master bedroom wall. They've opened up big window. They've got this. Sure, they're a bit low on utility, but they have the positioning, and in a 3v3, it's still something you can manage. They get it down to a 1v3. Amp is on 1 HP. You just... The final engagement indicates it. That wasn't Amp going crazy. That wasn't him hitting some of the nastiest shots ever, though he did hit one that was very nice. That was a throw. Through and through. And sure, it's Oregon attack, but you cannot be losing rounds like that on any map.
That was... like...
I mean, why... I just still can't get over how he crossed big window. He just gave himself up for that.
He was top white. There was one spot Amp could have come from. And that was top white. I don't know what Shrady was looking at. Like, sure, the Lion EE1D, the poor utility usage from that, which was actually, it was, for the most part, fixed for round 4. They executed off the Lion fairly well. Like, I've been giving the Lion some crap for the utility usage in the early rounds, but that's not necessarily Shrady's fault. That's probably the IGL going, hey, Shrady, call. And he's just doing what he's told. That round, man. That last round, Shrady Wi-Fi just got killed from the white rotate. Why are you readjusting your angle? You've got a 50-bullet magazine!
At least,
Even then, David didn't need to be re-engaging that either.
All right, well.
He'll re-engage there and win it. So, Amp, the 6-0 Warlord, will suffer his very first death. And, I mean, hey, take an Amp off the board early like that, maybe they have a chance.
Might have just gotten taken off guard there. Saw playing aggressively behind the barricade, likely trying to play until. We see teams do that, though not in the exact same way. I know Parabellum likes to stay aggressive on that doorway. Wow, this might be another situation. Teddy, nope, instead manages to get away. Low HP again. Now, two members of Gusic, one a little bit worse than the other, have now lost all or most of their HP. Playing close to a barricade, right is an attacker, starts to shoot it open and, well, start to move through. In the case of David. Losing that kill early on, especially that was your freezer player with the C4, somebody might have to rotate, and a big issue here, Harrison, the previous time they attacked basement, was having to push into the full 5-man stack of Gusic, who were still contesting most and all of the angles they needed to. Now they've taken out a very key player in freezer, where they tried to go last time. We'll also spot EJ getting aggressive on those back tower stairs, who is just full sending it, going for an entire rotate through attic, which, well, they'll surely be aware of hearing the C4 open up that wall, so I imagine we'll likely see some counterplay for this, and Val could be aware of it and take the appropriate countermeasures, but it might not be enough as they're still encountering some resistance on the site.
Yeah, Unlimited will kill Wi-Fi. It's a very late refrag, and here comes EJ. David also taking a lot of damage from a C4 that was sent into freezer. Hax is the man watching the flank, but if EJ doesn't push, Hax can't do this for long. Remember, he's the man with the case. He's going to have to go down into the site eventually, and he will do so. It's actually Shrady, the Lion, now holding onto the main stairs. Here's the E1D going out. That's going to lock EJ in place, and there's the peek. Well done to Shrady. Down goes the flanker, but Teddy, despite the low HP, finds one. Nar will slam Hax, and it's a 2 versus 2 as Unlimited is traded. Nar's going to start sending out these gas canisters, but Teddy lands a beautiful shot. It's all Shrady. He'll win one fight and the second. The Lion makes up for the previous round, and Valkyrie take their first point.
That's exactly what we want to see from Shrady, recovering after the previous fumble, if you will. So overall in that round, lot more decisive from Valkyrie. We see that opening pick, or, well, see the first pick again, goes untraded. Exactly what you'd want to see. They failed to capitalize it on the previous round, and as of course we saw, they end up doing that here. But what happened? They started to push on in, and this is where things started to get a little bit scary. Gusic started fighting back. They're playing those trades, which they did so well on basement last time, and it's what ended up winning them the round. The ability to continue contesting these angles and winning those fights. It's exactly what happened with Nar. Hit a nasty shot on the player who was contesting him, and we're down to a 3v3 and eventually a 1v2. Honestly, that was a really well-played round by Gusic, and Shrady just managed to win that 1v2, flick to the other player, but in all honesty, not to rain on the parade, and Harrison, you can feel free to disagree, but Valkyrie, they had a lot of good things going for them, but again, it was another case of, in my opinion, I think Gusic's really solid defense that Shrady just managed to win the gunfights and counter.
Yeah, Gusic's one of those teams that you can just never count out. I think that's what we've learned. Doesn't matter what kind of disadvantage they're fighting from. They will always make you work for those rounds. I mean, so far, they've been, except for the 1v3 clutch, other rounds have been pretty dang dominant. You can see that by Amp 6-1, Teddy 7-3, Nar 6-2. And the one round Valkyrie won, it was a 1vx. So, alarmingly close for their only victory. And now Team Gusic get to go back down to meeting. Last time we saw Valkyrie attack this site, well, it barely even got on the site. This round was over and done with on the roam clear, so hopefully they've learned their lesson. We're going to see, we're not going to see anyone face peek into attic with no drone. And now that EJ has not spawn peeked and died, Gusic are fighting with a full 5. We'll see if Valkyrie can actually get an adequate clear.
Are starting to mark. People see the E1D again used, though unfortunately, again, no capitalization. They actually marked somebody in the site. Nobody on the roam, it appeared, so a bit unfortunate for them. Some damage done to Shrady as well as EJ. Wow, surprise, surprise, gets aggressive, and EJ, I thought you wouldn't make the same mistake twice. Same with you, Teddy. Come on, we just hyped up how coordinated and well put together you are, and that's what we're doing? Little bit of a misplay from EJ. Well, maybe a big misplay, in fact. Teddy just trying to compensate, gets caught out. Unlimited will finally answer back, and it's on to Shrady. a player I feel like we've highlighted and talked about quite a bit in this match, more so than anybody else on the team. And while right now, a lot of them have to coalesce and take down Unlimited, who will end up rotating back. But in all honesty, 4v3, and that was 2 site players you took down, and the Roam now has to make up for the lack of site presence. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's not bad, but Amp is still alive. And Gnar is also still alive, and he's got 3 gas canisters at his disposal. Amp nearly finding some shots onto Wi-Fi, but will end up missing all of them, or rather the bars will eat them all. Wi-Fi will send in a nade after the Melusi, but she is long gone. Unlimited will go over towards Green Hall as there's a 3-man stack up heading into security. Unlimited might be able to find an angle in here, but Wi-Fi will avoid it. Pushing in, doing battle with Gnar. No, Gnar will play passive as Unlimited actually kills Mental in security. The second man trying to push through. A nade will force the Jaeger back, but really barely do any damage as David is now on the floor and Wi-Fi's got to try and hit this plant. Hax the only be able to get it down, but he'll pay the price, and it's Hax alone. 1v3 in the post plant. The wall is not open either, so we can't get an angle from the small tower stairs, and Gnar is going to start moving up. Now, the single panel wall is open, but Hax is now all the way towards the shower hallway. He can't get a direct angle on this case. The Melusi of Amp, he doesn't need to push, but he will, and he'll lose his life. Now the situation a little bit better for Hax, especially as the time is starting to dwindle, and Unlimited is sticking it. You can tell they don't know where he's gone. There's the first kill for Hax. He's only got to land one more. Gnar will light him up. The Bearing 9 needs to do the work, but the shotgun out will clutch it, and Gnar's got time. How do you lose that for Gusic? Sure, it was a 1v3, but Hax had every advantage in the world after the kill on Amp, and still, Gusic pull out the 5-1 half.
I can't help but think Valkyrie were getting a bit ahead of themselves there. I have to admire Wi-Fi sticking that plant. Sure, it kind of sucks he put Hax in that position, but you saw how well he managed to perform under pressure. But even though they cleared out the roam clear so much they cleared out the roam, excuse me, so much that they did previously, they didn't do anything with it. They had a 4v3, and nobody was there to try to counter the smoke, either maybe push in through split or try to play the attic hatch to deny him throwing them. I mean, that's where he's playing. He's playing over by that split door inside of meeting, tossing those smoke canisters where you're getting the bomb down. Nobody's there to counter. Instead, you have, as you said, a 3-man stack into kitchen. I don't know where the final player was, but clearly, as you saw, it wasn't countering the smoke, who ended up being the one to put Hax in that 1v3 because, of course, David was down, and the smoke is what ended up killing Wi-Fi. It seems like Valkyrie, while they did manage to get the bomb down and very narrowly win the round, they put Hax in a 1v3, and it seemed it was another case of them not doing their due diligence and maybe letting the round get ahead of them. Now, as we switch to the defense, a 1-5 half isn't terrible. We've seen teams run back and win this still at this deficit. Oregon defense can be favorable a lot of the times to teams, but for Valkyrie, there were quite a few missed opportunities in that half.
Especially to Hax. In that clutch, did an incredible job. You could tell Valkyrie were operating, or Gusic were operating off of 0 intel. They had no freaking idea where he was. So Amp sprints around the corner and dies. And by the way Gnar is playing, he thinks that Hax is going to be going around towards security, but the wall is open, and Unlimited dies easy. But instead of falling back, Hax opts to push through. Instead of playing the time, he plays for the kill, and both players whiff. Admittedly, it wasn't just Hax. Gnar whiffed as well. But when Hax brings out the Bearing 9, why is he sprinting?
It just...
Why did he sprint?
Nerves. Probably just nerves.
It's a 1v1. There's barely any time left. Just at that point, just prone. Force Gnar to get up and walk at you. Do something, man. Play the time. Why are you sprinting?
It happens. It
Unbind
happens.
shift.
I know. It happens. But now, again, moving into the next round. 2 minutes so far gone, and, well, Harris and Gusic are taking this the exact opposite way that Valkyrie did on their attack. Immediately pushing back tower stairs, whereas Freezer and Laundry was the immediate focus for Valkyrie on their attacks. This go around, again, as I said, Gusic taking the exact opposite. Also, we'll see a Nomad on the roster for Team Gusic, something I believe we didn't see from Valkyrie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe this is a new operator that we have seen so far, as well as the presence of the Finka. Unlimited liked to play that yesterday quite a bit, so understandable he'll retake that operator. And so far, minimal resistance from Valkyrie, but then again, they don't really need to. They're playing this very close to sight. They know that it's incumbent upon Gusic to make the push in through E-box and back tower stairs work, and, well, with those impacts in hand, they can certainly survive for quite a while, letting Wi-Fi do his thing on back tower stairs, have the wall inside of pillar, but now as the second set comes out, never mind. No counterplay, nobody in bunker. It appears they're going to be stuck on this E-box wall for a little bit longer.
And, well,
it happens
that's
again.
just all of Hibana's utility done and dusted. Odd for Gusic to not have any recourse there. No one inside a blue bunker, like you said, to kill David, and even then, Mental can just peek in from supply and shoot them. Odd play from Gusic, to be sure. Huge waste of utility and time. Remember, because Hibana's utility takes a long while to activate. Now, Unlimited will draw down. They do see Wi-Fi and Harry Potter. Is the Goyo going to be able to get out of this mess? He does. He backs off over back towards the barrel doorway. But as comes in the drop, David will be down. EJ not finished off. Wi-Fi! You gotta win that. But Mental, he's on fire. Trades go through for both teams. But the scoreboard will end up lighting blue with Teddy downed, but picked up. Unlimited with the Finka boost is able to res his teammate, and Hax is finished off by Teddy himself. It's now Shrady alone. We've seen him clutch a 1v2. He's gonna need to do it again, and Unlimited, he's got to get the case down. The cover, very low on HP. Shrady only needs to land a single shot. In comes the C4. It goes wide, but it still forces Unlimited off. It was out of range. You did not need to get off the plant, and Valkyrie somehow pull out the round.
Again, another understandable mistake. He sees the C4. He's a little bit scared, but it was at the moment where, yeah, that C4, as long as it does that, as long as it scares Unlimited, the time was too low for him to rotate back and get the bomb down. And if he decided to rotate somewhere else in the site, it might have been in a very exposed position. So Valkyrie ended up getting that first round. Another clutch by Shrady, a little bit different than the first one, as opposed to gunplay. This time it's the utility. But there were so many more problems for Gusic in that round before that C4. Of course, I think the big one that sticks out in all of our minds is just the complete mishandling of the E-box wall. I mean, they put 3 sets of X-Kairos on there, and each time they're like, all right, he won't shoot it this time. But there was nobody in bunker to clear our pillar. We saw EJ eventually rotate down, but he wasn't in a position to counter until all of the X-Kairos were shot. Appeared to be some miscommunication or just some miscoordination on Gusic, but even then, there was not much presence on back tower stairs. The presence in bunker wasn't there until very late. I'm amazed it was in a 1v2 favoring Gusic, because in terms of the map control, and then how they transitioned based on the little control they had, neither were very stellar. I'm amazed they came close to winning that round.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Shrady. That C4 toss, scare on Unlimited was all they needed at the end. The trade game being played by Gusic as well. Or rather, played by Valkyrie because they had lost the initial 2 men. It was very well done. They kept completely enforced with Gusic, and I gotta hand it off to Mental during that whole scuffle after Wi-Fi and David were downed. It was Mental who got an impactful double kill to keep his team in contention, and Wi-Fi, a player that we're not typically used to getting aggressive, will end up spawn peeking the one and only EJ. Good night to the Iana, and it's an opening pick for Valkyrie.
Yana, very good op to take off the board as well. I mentioned those nades and gone earlier, especially with an Aruni on the board as well. Ironically enough, that the Arunis want to take Yana down because that Yana clone serves as a very direct counter to those gates. You simply press 4, run the clone in. You don't need to burn a flash or a grenade or what have you. Use that and it's regenerating. Barely, if any, utility wasted. So, certainly one that the attack is going to miss since their clear is going for Master Bedroom. A side of the map that usually has at least 1 or 2 Aruni gates on it, the attack will have to clear. However, this is a case where we...
Whoa!
Never mind. Wow.
Okay.
I'm assuming he had a drone on him? That was... Wow. Okay. Well, I was about to say David might get a C4 off here, but he didn't. And he's dead now. And that means that Team Gusic will successfully be able to open up this Master Bedroom wall. It's about as far as Valkyrie got last time in the round. Almost went in their favor until there was a clutch that happened. But if they want to rotate to either big window or attic, they have a minute and a half. Plenty of time to do so.
A lot of shields they got to deal with, though. Shrady is tucked in, and I'm sure feeling pretty darn safe in his position. Big window will be opened. And Hax is playing very close with the shotgun out, waiting for the sound cue of the vault. so he can completely demolish the legs of, assumedly, Teddy? There's really no one's in range to rotate over. The other three are all still pushing master side. So Teddy, he's not really looking to jump in. He is just there for the cut off. I doubt this smoke will find his pick anytime soon, especially because he's going to need to turn his attention over towards these attackers because, he's smoke. As if right on cue, he's going to actually smoke big window, interestingly enough. And Wi-Fi gets taken out by Gnar. Hax is going to actually get air jabbed, but Teddy can't find the kill. And Shrady is just inches away from perhaps getting a pick onto the Maverick. But he'll just end up reactivating the Aruni gate. It'll be burned pretty much immediately. Another drone comes in, getting some good info in sight. They know now Mental is top white, but he'll still dumpster Gnar. Good night. And there's the equalizer. Hax as well, finishing off Teddy. But in comes the push. Amp goes down, Unlimited. He's going to res the Hibana, though. Does Mental know? Hax is now dead. Amp is getting the kills, and it's a 1v1. But Shrady, he's got the shield. He'll rotate away. Amp needs to sprint in. 0 on the clock, and Valkyrie, round 8. Shrady once again pulling it out on time.
Wow, that was
almost one of the most clutch Finka revives I've seen in my life.
That was okay. So that round was a lot, especially in the final 30 seconds. We see Mental hit an absolutely ballistic flick, peeking the Finka on Trophy Door, flicks to the Hibana as she enters the breach and downs her. That was already, I believe we might be able to see it. Yeah, see right there. That was incredible. But as you said, one of the most clutch Finka revives on the face of the earth somehow takes a 3v2 into a 1v2, into a 1v1. Amp hesitates a little bit. You saw him start to kind of slow down. Didn't want to make the same mistake Hax did. He knows sprint directly into the Jaeger. Unfortunately, their time was a bit too low to make that play. Shrady once again maybe getting lucky, maybe being a clutch player, whichever way it is. Good finish off in that round, but it's kind of... I feel like Harrison, that round was symptomatic of a lot of what we've seen so far. They got a lot of their control open. They opened up those walls, but again, it just came down to the attacking team losing their gunfights, not ending up winning those. They tried to push in through the door, tried to push in through the breach, and sometimes they lost it while fighting back, and sometimes in the case of Gnar, they just kind of shoved their face in a hole and got peeked.
Gotta feel for Mental, though. I'm sure he had assumed that Hibana was done for, and then Amp just got up. Like the Undertaker, like lifted out of the coffin and killed him.
The Manchurian Candidate.
that was so funny. I saw it was the like Amp was down and I was like, wait, well, last guy's Finka. Wait, Amp's health bar is blue. And he got 2 kills. That was nuts, but close but no cigar. So Gusic, their lead going from 5-1 to 5-3. It's not worrying just yet, but the margin is slowly getting closer, slowly getting thinner. They're going to start with a top floor take. Because of course they are. It's a middle floor site. The first thing you got to do is take these roamers out. Unlimited has no idea where he wants to play. And he'll end up going by the main doorway, see that split is castled, and say, all right, come on. I really need to watch this. Never mind. He will repel and then get off because someone has called for the castle barricade to be broken. Never mind. He's back on the repel. Make up your mind to talk about where Unlimited is playing because he's Finka and whether or not he's going to be in the action, but he's just going up and... Okay, finally!
Now he's in the action.
He's going to be assisting the push because he's
really
Finka and has nades and has a gon. Gnar is going to open up the wall. Amp almost dies to that hole. I hate this. I'm still upset about Unlimited, like, jibaiting me 4 times.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. But at least here, Harrison, we're going to see some nice utility clear. Both ADS is burned, shield burned as well. Wi-Fi pushed back, but he will instead rotate back up close to that door as a proximity alarm goes off, indicating that Unlimited is, well, peeking Trophy Door. There are also some holes made inside the bedroom wall, but right now, nobody in a direct position to counter Wi-Fi, so instead he will hold them to see if any attacker rotates, and, well, like Gnar did in the previous round, shove their face into it, and if they do so, they might very well die. But a minute 10 seconds left, minute 50 gone, if you can't do basic math. And Gusic haven't made much progress. I say that right as a beautiful nade comes in from Gnar, but there's still no counterplay onto Mental, who's gone unread on top white. Right as Teddy pushes into peak, he ends up losing that fight. Shrady still holding inside of dorms as well, as 2 members, one inside of attic. Well, I was going to say they might pinch him out, but the castle rotates back as he knows. With 50 seconds left, now 45, he is best helpful on the site, as it's now 4v4, and Team Gusic have to push into the rest of Valkyrie's man count, which is currently even to theirs.
4v4, and
Oh,
we've just
wait.
eclipsed 40 seconds, but David,
Drop the bomb diffuser.
there's a drone watching the hole. So his flank might be known, and yeah, okay, he's just going to shoot away. He hears the drone. He's going to dart back. And, well, unfortunately, that cool little flank will not come to fruition. Actually, they didn't even kill the drone. That's a little bit unfortunate. But the time is dwindling. Like I said, 20 seconds. Amp, with the case, has now made his way downstairs, but there's a bulletproof staring at him, so he can't necessarily plant safely, and Mental is just around the corner. Speaking of, Nar is down, but no! He'll whip the gunfight! Unlimited will hit the back, and the Shrady gets the trade. Hax will take out Unlimited, but the plant is going down, and EJ has to cover. Amp, he's getting it down. In comes the push, but it's too late, and we're now down to a 1v1 post. EJ's gonna back all the way back up tower, though. He knows he's got the rotate to play with, and he's got hatch control. This is going to be tough for Shrady. He's only got the UMP in hand. EJ, he'll send a nade down just to delay the castle even further. The drone will also spot him. He's got to do this quickly. He's only got another 17 seconds left, but EJ, he's playing so passive, just running away, forcing Shrady to push farther and farther away from the case, but he's just going to give up, drop the hatch, and that'll give all the advantage over to EJ. And ladies and gentlemen, this round is not over.
Is
Now it's
now over.
And Team Gusic will lead 6-3. They are on the cusp of taking Valkyrie's map pick.
One round away indeed, and that's what we needed to see. Just so far, the only attacking round win was an extremely close one on basement. That was a 1v2 that Valkyrie got. Now we see an attacking win that was a lot more clean cut, at least at the end. However, didn't exactly have the best start. 1 minute and 50 seconds it took before Team Gusic eventually, finally, pushed in to clear out that roam. And it was, well, a piece of utility that did it. It wasn't even a gunfight. A nade lands at Wi-Fi's feet. He's taken down inside of pit, but it's also traded out, and then the rest of the defense rotates back. So in terms of map control gained, sure, they gained a bit, but at the cost of a man, and it's traded out soon after. I don't know if I'm Valkyrie with 1 minute or 50 seconds left. That is certainly looking good for me, especially now that I can delegate 2 men per site. But then, this is what we needed to see from Gusic. Some actual utilization of different angles and map control. Because as opposed to Valkyrie, when they attacked that site, they would just stomp 3 members in from the same position, and the 4th guy was still close by. At least there, sure, they didn't peek the hatch, but they sent 2 members in through beating. 1 guy pushed in through split as well to distract him as the bomb was going down. It was still risky. It certainly came down to gunfights, and if, say, Unlimited loses that first one, it could very well have gone Valkyrie's favor. There was at least a little bit of an extra dimension there to Gusic's attack. That is what ended up shoving it in their favor in the end. And also just, well, a well-played post plan by EJ. And you have to give credit where credit is due.
It would have been funny. If Shrady won that 1v1, he would have pretty much been the entire reason why Valkyrie have won 4 rounds. I mean, he's already the reason why they've won all 3. But and making it a 4th would have been pretty funny. Mental, he's got a long angle spawn peek. He will land 1 bullet into the chest of Teddy, but it's not going to do all that much against this. Is going to be a downstairs defense. Now, the thing that's really worrying for me is that Gusic almost won this round. It was a 2 versus 1. And if Unlimited had just read the C4's trajectory correctly, they would have probably won. Now, you know, I can't take it away from Shrady that he was able to win that. You know, it was very well done to him, but relying on a clutch like that, you can't really do that. That is not reliable. That is not consistent. So we're going to need some sort of massive shift from Valkyrie and how they play the site if they want to definitively take this round and keep the comeback on.
Just seeing the same push coming out from Gusic on those back tower stairs. I'll have to see a little bit better clear of Wi-Fi due to the fumbling of those ex-Kairos. Previously, EJ, if you're going to go bunker, of course you also can't count on Wi-Fi whiffing his gunfight on you like he did last time. You're going to need to help contest and help those ex-Kairos open up to make sure that the Wamai can't just push out and shoot it, especially if they are keeping with that exact same strategy, because they got a lot open, got a lot of those angles covered as well, but it was that bunker one that really served to be the most problematic. Valkyrie, all 5 members stacked on the site currently, haven't really met any semblance of pressure. Maybe I will say, do you want to see a little bit of a diversification, because it did only come down to bunker and back tower stairs, which can always be a little bit risky if you haven't done a lot to clear out that pillar, or if the defense has managed to remain alive for quite a long time. Though the shield will be finally opened up, and Wi-Fi is pushed out of this position, so we are seeing a very solid improvement in terms of Team Gusic. It's clear from where it was last time, and while there's still Wamai there, they've managed to open up that wall, clear out that position, and now their overall execute an entry into the site. It might not be successful, but there's a much higher chance that it will be effective.
Did they actually get the Hibana hole open on Barrel?
Yes, they did.
They did! Wow! And that, ladies and gentlemen, might be what solidifies this round for Team Gusic. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, their next
Hacks,
obstacle
though.
to deal with is Hacks, holding an elbow. The nade is going to go through, but there's no burn, so the nade is just going to get ADS. Teddy is very low on HP after scuffling with Mental, so he'll have to be careful. And yet another ADS is going to get burned, but Teddy's going to get the kill anyway. I don't even know where he is, but he'll slam Mental. Wi-Fi will be lit up a little bit as EJ hits the floor. Even 4v4, but again, here's that Finka healing a player. Vonar is going to get shotgunned, and Hacks on his retreat, though, gets cut down. I don't know why he wouldn't continue watching the hole, and Teddy is in! So is Ayam! This entire round is falling apart! Valkyrie, what? I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. They, quite literally, did not shoot back. You saw Hacks shotgun the first guy in E-Box,
That was it right there. That was the play.
and that was it. That was the one instance of Valkyrie shooting back. He decided then, despite having players in freezer and someone watching the long
That
hallway,
one for me.
I will run.
Yeah,
I will turn my back and escape instead of holding the 90-degree angle against the doorway with the best shotgun in the game. Ooh. Yeah,
Yeah, that
that'll do it. And then Wamai is chilling in the middle of the doorway, staring at the void.
Yeah, that was the big thing for me was we've seen entire rounds won by just a shotgun player holding the box door. Like, I have seen rounds and games won because of that position and because of that play. And yeah, Hacks rotates off to long haul, and there was somebody pushing close. It's not like there wasn't anybody pushing there, but as you said, there were players covering that, multiple.
Well,
at
there's a
that.
dude pushing, but he was behind the pillar.
I know. That's what I'm saying, is that not only was he kind of far away, even if he got close, there were still players who could counteract that. That was just, again, I think a couple times, Hack specifically, but in that game, the sprinting, that rotation, I think there was a little bit of shakiness and some nerves on the side of Valkyrie that kind of caused maybe some misplays during that game. And on their map pick as well, it would have been one thing for the 7-5, but 7-3 against Gusic?
And all three of the rounds being won by Shrady?
Yes, that is the big
Shout out
one
to
as
Shrady.
well. Shout out to Shrady. We were kind of throwing some smoke because of he was, kind of
It was
lost
that one round.
because
yeah.
he did lose a
And then
round
he
as well.
And then he decided to win 3 by himself, 2 of which off of time. So shout out to Shrady. He definitely made up for the loss of the that round where he was outside big window. But man, Valkyrie, I ain't gonna lie. I cannot lie. Y'all didn't look good.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't look great.
But-
And that was your map. That was Oregon. That was a fundamental map. But now we're going to Villa.
Yeah.
But Villa is somewhere where Gusic are overwhelmingly comfortable,
Yes.
is what I would say. So hopefully Valkyrie has something better put together. But we are going to send it to a quick break before map number 2. Give the players some rest. Give me a chance to get some Advil or ibuprofen. So sit tight. We'll be back with map number 2 just after this.
There once was a tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might, with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We call them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. You missed it. It was a 7-3 for Gusic on their opponent's map pick of Oregon, and now we get to go to Avila, a team that on stream we have seen them win and look pretty damn good doing it. I'm Lynx, joined by Crow. If you are just joining us, and
we gotta
got some
watch this
replays as well
again.
to catch you up on how that game transpired. Because on Valkyrie's attacking half, Harrison, it well, it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty.
New. It was a 5-1 defense for Gusic. They looked real good. The only round they lost was when Shrady 1v2'd on the basement. And then, well, Valkyrie looked marginally better on the... Wow, I forgot how bad David got dumpstered there. Valkyrie looked marginally better. They got 2 rounds on the defense.
Still came down to Shrady.
Yeah, which both came down to Shrady winning off of time, no less. But, yeah, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on for Valkyrie. Not a lot that would inspire confidence. Oh, this round. No. I gotta watch Hacks sprint out of smoke again.
There it is.
Oh, no. I gotta watch Wi-Fi whiff again? No.
Wait, no, it gets better. It gets
I
better.
gotta watch the C4 again?
Not that part. Not that part. Not that part. This part. Hold on.
This part. That was awesome.
I just simply have no idea how he got that kill. Then we had.
Then there was Amp. Amp is down.
There
Gets
were
Finka rezzed, and then gets 2 kills.
There were legitimately some wild moments in this game. Some actual high points. Unlimited's kill that almost clutch by Amp. Nice round by Gusic as well there, but then it got worse. It gets worse.
Yeah. Sprinted the hallway, shotgun out. And then, yeah, that match was a mess. Mainly from Valkyrie's side. Gusic had a few slip-ups where, you know, there were some beginner stuff they weren't getting, like proper burn, covering your Hibana breach going down on the Evox wall, etc. But for the most part, they looked pretty solid and made Valkyrie look rather pedestrian, I must say. But now we're going on Avila, which is Gusic's map pick.
And we have Bax back. EJ was only subbing in for that first map, so we got Bax back on the roster.
Woo!
Woo!
Electronic J down.
Which actually was funny.
Actually, he didn't even do that poorly. He
didn't. But it's also funny. I don't know if maybe they just it's different roles per map. But Bax yesterday in the one game I saw him on
he was
Villa.
typically support.
Yeah, he was playing more like Flores, whereas EJ was subbing in. He was playing more Yana. So I'm interested to see if maybe Bax is playing more aggressive, or maybe if he normally plays Yana on Oregon, or if now that he's on Villa, maybe they will rotate back to that traditional role, or he'll take up the Yana. I don't know, but we're getting into it, so we'll find out momentarily.
Because they were also bringing the Nomad on Villa. Some teams play Flores as kind of like a pseudo second entry.
No, it can certainly work once you've used all those Rotero drones. I mean, you can honestly do the same with the Nomad. Once you've used those air jabs, you can use them as a sort of pseudo entry. So it's possible, but also, you know, it's also EJ. He probably just kind of came in and decided he was playing Yana. To be honest with ourselves.
He was like, boys,
I'm feeling it today.
I don't know how to do anything else. I will simply shoot. But Valkyrie, even though Gusic banned that last map, oh no, never mind. Yeah, Gravity was just wrong. It's Thatcher.
It's Thatcher. I imagine
I was misled.
I imagine Gusic. Yeah, they will ban Zofia. It's the both times they played on. Well, I guess all 3 times they've now played on stream. All 3 maps they banned Zofia.
Valk.
I would expect, not only do they ban Mira, I'd expect a Valkyrie as well, because all of these teams that we have casted on stream like to ban Valkyrie, they like to ban Mira. We have one, and we have the other. There it is. Write that down. You okay?
I just want something different.
Oh.
Please.
No. Not today, my child. Not today.
I'm older than you.
Yeah, well, I act more mature.
Yeah.
So, first round up, Valkyrie starting on the defense, as you can see. And, well, I will say Bax was also playing a little bit of Jackal yesterday as well, so wasn't exactly like he was playing more of that support role, but he was on...
Oh, interesting.
He was playing a variety of operators.
Finka Jackal duo entry.
Starting side
No Yana. No Ash.
Starting side as well, as you can see, will be Aviator Games. Based on this lineup as well, I imagine we're going to see probably or like we normally see on Villa, I would say, probably a main stairs hold. Going to see maybe a Goyo shield place either on the main stairs or at top main. You do have a deployable shield as well that Hax has. I imagine that one will go to top main as well. Probably a Goyo shield dedicated to 90. The big question is, as I was about to say, are we going to see anybody play red stairs or extend, not really extend, but start the round over inside a trophy statue? We are seeing a reinforcement placed on that library wall with some barbed wire placed there as well. Could see either Melted or Shrady take up that position if you wanted to. Not entirely sure yet.
Finka Jackal. That's quite the unorthodox entry combo. Typically you see at least one of Iana Ash so. But Finka Jackal combo is fickle.
All right, man. Remember when I said I was more mature?
Or Jacka.
Also, here's the funny thing: because they're going with that Finka Jackal combo, they only have 4 nades and there are 3 shields.
They got a gone.
Nah, it's true, I guess.
Simply shoot the Goyo.
Still a bit strapped.
That's true. Bax, because he's Jackal and he can see feet, he's going to solo entry, and because of his silent solo entry, Wi-Fi doesn't expect him to already be in clock. So that's a very early kill. That's also mute. That is 1 of 2 C4s. Now done and dusted. So well done to Bax. Already back, and look at that. First map on, he'll get the first kill.
And also, very quick red stairs control for the attack. They can push up into 90 very quickly in this round so far. Though, of course, they are, at the same time, placing a massive emphasis on main stairs, like we saw them do yesterday against Shadow Realm. This is what they like to do. Well, like to do a couple different attacks, but this was one they certainly liked. Do see the Wamai still existing there, so he can get a tight angle on anybody playing or rotating over by Art, and also one thing that Team Gusic will have to deal with is that player watching the holes inside a bar. And this is also problematic, Harrison, because they do have nades to deal with the shields, but one common strategy is using a nade to nade that hole and force the player off of the bar holes. You have to be careful with that utility if you want to destroy those shields because, well, in all likelihood, they will dedicate a nade to that position, and it will push Hax off, but not kill him. He can still play this whole spot 1, but no, he misses the shots. Hax! And right now, all of the kills are going Gusic's way. A massive whiff by Hax that gives Gusic so much map control.
A 4v2 after that scuffle. Again, once Gusic have their eyes on the prize and they push in as a unit, there's little you can do to battle back. And now David and Hax have to deal with the incoming onslaught. And Hax is very, very low on HP. Just 1. And now David is 2. As he gets lit up, I believe, the Nomad of Nar holding the doorway with the AK. 30 seconds left. Ample time for Gusic to put together a well-constructed push with Bax cutting off the vault angle, though he will get gassed off temporarily. Teddy's the one with the fuser. He'll get slammed by David. Beautiful kill from the Goyo, but it does allow in Nar as he goes for the reload. The low ammo count likely being cursed by the Goyo, and Nar lines up the second as well.
Just unfortunate for Hax there. I mean, that was... I don't want to say that would have won the round for them, but it definitely would have made it a lot more difficult for Gusic because it was a 3-man push up main stairs. To get that first pick at the beginning of the round, Bax to solo entry. Solo entries like that are always risky, but maybe they had some drones to clear, able to get Bax to that position, or maybe he just, you know, abided by the philosophy of probably clear and assumed that a lot of those spots were, and, well, thankfully, the luck went his way. He catches the mute off early, takes down a C4, red stairs as well. But Gusic are like, we got to push main stairs. This is what we want to do on our take. We have to clear it out. And they meet some resistance. Domai has a lot of utility stacked there, and he's really holding it. And Hax still has that hole. He is naded off, but he is not killed. And Gusic, they just sent the nade up and immediately turned their backs to it and started pushing up. That was a free kill for Hax there. And he missed. And he missed. They get the kills on the Wamai. In all likelihood, they probably would have gotten at least 1, maybe even both kills on those stairs, but he would have evened it up, and combined with the kill David got later on, it would have been a 2v2, and it would have been a lot more winnable had he just landed a couple more of those shots. Unfortunately, he didn't. That's the way she goes sometimes.
Indeed. And Valkyrie are looking to repeat that site, find some better success. Now that, you know, Wi-Fi is also aware of where Bax comes from, hopefully he won't go sprinting towards red and die very early on, though he is looking to roam here once again. Unlimited will spot him out as he creates the rotate. So this C4 presence is something Gusic will once again deal with. He did it pretty adequately last time for basically for free. But, oh, Amp!
Wow, all right.
as he rappels up to the roof. That's a default spot to go ahead and hold the boar crossfire. He's going to get jumped out on by David. And he's going to land the shot with the Vector before he hits the ground, too. That is very impressive from one of the Frenchies of Valkyrie. So well done. That's a big utility pick off the board.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You've taken out that Sets of Nade, and Amp, coincidentally...
You just didn't shoot the cam.
It's fine. It's whatever. I'll just ignore that part. Coincidentally, Amp was the very person who naded the whole Haxus playing last time. So, of course, you lose the nades, but that was the player who made that big play that allowed Gusic, or at least made it easier for Gusic to push up those stairs. So, if you were strapped for utility because of your lineup, you are now especially more so because of who's died, and especially because of the take you're going for. Does look like they might be rotating, though. You can see instead they're placing some emphasis on that north and eastern side of master bedrooms. So thankfully for them, well, they still have to deal with that utility. Well, might not matter in the end because David is still getting aggressive with that hatch open. He hears backs down below, takes a risky engagement, almost loses his life, but he comes out on top. He's got a 2K so far. He split the man advantage even further in Valkyrie's favor.
Yeah. EJ was talking some smack in Twitch chat. David was like, you know what?
Shut
I gotta step it up a bit. I'm gonna step up. He's going to do a little bit of damage to Gnar now. C4 out. Could it land the kill? It does, but he can't get the second. But still, 3 on the round for the Goyo. Huge ups to David, putting the round in his team's favor. And Mental is still on red stairs. You can see Teddy has absolutely no idea. But as he backs up, he's now peeking over. But he can't land the shot. Only trading blows. The time is ticking. Mental knows he can just play passive. He can waste the seconds away, and he will actually dart back, figuring, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to risk the fight. I'm going to go back on site, hold the crossfire with my anchors, and make it even harder for Teddy and Gnar to get in the first place. This shield here also stopping Teddy from planting over towards Vault. He's going to be forced to behind Risk, which is pretty easy to gas out for Hax, who still has all 3 canisters. And speaking of Hax, he's just going to do the work with his gun. Down goes the head of Teddy, and it's just Gnar. 1v4, 35 seconds to go.
Smoke canisters separating his pathway in as well. 1 player study, 2 players holding his cross to his right. This is certainly a difficult proposition with no flashbangs as well. He's got 1 air jab. Maybe he can do something with that. Send it in, but with only 20 seconds left, he'd also be exposing himself for the couple seconds he has it activated. This is looking like an unwinnable round for Gnar at this moment, unless Valkyrie start giving themselves up, but doesn't appear like they are. He walks into the smoke knowing he's likely doomed, and Mental cleans him up. You can't really put the success of that round on anybody else's shoulders but David's. Goes for that spawn peek, catches Amp off guard, he was literally mid-repel animation up to the roof. He just could not fight back in that. Then he gets the second kill as well, getting very aggressive on that hatch. That is a gunfight that honestly probably could have gone either way, but in this case, it just so happens to go David's way. He takes down Baxel. You've taken down the boar window player who basically, because you took him down, made the clear through Astro, through Trophy, through Statuary a lot slower. You then take down the player who is also roam clearing down below. And with the C4 as well, I honestly thought, Harrison, that considering that there were 2 players right around that corner, one of them would shoot it. That didn't happen. Gets another kill.
Yeah.
When you have
Gnar just saw the C4 and was
it
like,
literally
I'm gonna just keep walking.
It literally flew over Gnar's shoulder, but
He just kept going.
But when you have a player who single-handedly makes it a 5v2, you can't really give credit to anybody else. And it wasn't any more so. I mean, I don't know if that was if that was brilliance from David. It was just some good timing, right place at the right time, and he won some gunfights that, while close, still managed to go his way.
Yeah. Well done, David. And now it's dining kitchen. No trophy statue just yet, Valkyrie, interestingly enough. They've now got the Kaid in their pocket. Electro Claws might be a little tough for them to deal with if Gusic don't have the proper nade placement, but they've been pretty decent with their nades so far. Of course, they're not bringing the Maverick, only having the Hibana, as you really just need that ranged hard breacher here on this map. David, also far afield from the site, now on the roam, rather than playing behind his shields all the way towards the living room, looking for some early drones, or perhaps even an early pick. You'll hear the art window get smashed open by Amp, but of course, Amp, he's safe about it. He's going to be droning in first. And it seems like Team Gusic are going pretty horizontal. Everyone on the first floor, no one rappelling up just yet. Make that one player who might just sit over towards Master. A lot of times you'll see with a full horizontal push, one player watching the Master balcony, so their players can't get, killed topside. But Amp is already in, and it seems like they've got pings on where David is.
This could be the first kill right here if they manage to position themselves properly. He has not moved either. Don't know if he's found the drone. Might have been going through that drone hole, but they will have a Yana clone to spot him as well. Well, actually, it didn't spot him, but he will shoot it, so they do know that there is somebody playing inside of Living, and now the players will start to move in. Amp moving in through Living or Library at the moment, but he drops down right as the bullets start coming in. 1 HP he escapes on, and Gusic will clear him out. But he does manage to escape alive, albeit a little bit worse for wear. One on astronomy stairs as well. They still have some players to cut through, but as very narrowly the opening pick. But for the moment, it's still a 5v5.
I do know he went down to the basement, but I'm not quite sure if they're confident he's gone up pantry. You see Nar still kind of watching the downstairs. There's the upstairs angles from Shrady coming into play. He lights up the feet of Amp, and it looks like David's going to go back downstairs where Mental is also playing, and the horizontal push is starting to shape up with the hard breach going out, but as Shrady tries to shoot the X-Kairos off, he's mostly successful, but it comes at the cost of his life. Teddy shuts him down and makes way for even more of his hard breaching to go on the wall. Mental now sprinting around downstairs. He's got the hatch under his control, nearly spots a player, but he's just going to chill for now. There's about a minute left on the clock for Gusic to make their push, and that is plenty of time, especially still with nades in their pockets. They've got a total of 3. Actually, no, I forgot Finka has a total of 4 now, with Gone 6 still in their arsenal. Now, there's not a lot of shield play for them to deal with, but Mental, the hatch he was staring up previously,
yes, he just forgot about it.
He's just gonna sprint past and completely forfeit his life. Now it's a 3v5. Wi-Fi will get 1 back for his team, but lest we forget, David is very lit up. Wi-Fi is gonna go aggressive though. Now holding the angle on clock as Amp hits a frost mat. That's huge. Down goes your painting player. But there's David despite the low HP getting a kill. Wi-Fi now finished off by Nar, but the time is dwindling. 20 seconds left, and Amp is irrecoverable, not with the low seconds. And there's the angle from Hacks. He just narrowly sees the gun barrel. Down goes Nar through the wall. Unlimited's gotta make the play. He sees the player prone. Down goes David. He's only got a 1v1 the smoke, but he will lose out. No, it's a trade, but the defense win out because there was no plant, and Valkyrie take their second point.
What's funny about that? We trade at the end there. Maybe if Amp doesn't just forget about the frost mat, goes a little bit differently. Because Amp, had he hopped into Bicycle, of course, well...
Mental knows what he did.
Unlucky. It happens. But as you can see there, Amp jumping into Bicycle could have provided some necessary pressure, especially once the rest of Memorial was dealt with. That could have been the round. Him and Unlimited could have pushed together, or if Amp died, he still would have helped clearing out Memorial. Him and whoever else could have pushed together. And even though if they traded out, it still would have given the man advantage, and therefore the round to Gusic. And it looked like it was going their way for a large portion of it. Aided in no short order, thanks to Mental acknowledging his mistake for running in front of the open hatch he himself was trying to get a kill through just 5 seconds prior. So pushing in there, it was honestly a pretty good pinch from Gusic. Maybe they could have... I mean, Harrison, I think they could have made a little bit better use of that verticality, especially since they had a lot of time in that round to rotate upstairs if they wanted to, especially once they got the 5v3. They just started to commit, and as you saw, because of the frost mat and how the kills ended up coming out, as we've seen multiple times throughout this series, maybe got a bit ahead of themselves and left a couple places uncleared that they probably should have had some info on.
Yeah, no. The recovery was almost there. I think that's, again, you know, to further the point that you just can't count Gusic out. No matter what the disadvantage is, they find a way to fight back. I mean, that round came down to a trade. Wasn't even that even 1v1, it was a trade. And unfortunately, too, as well, with Amp being caught in the frost mat, you cannot Finka-res someone who's caught in a bear trap. All right, super unfortunate for Gusic. David's looking for a spawn peek.
Never mind.
Okay. That was a little bit odd. He just sprinted out, stood in front of a car, and then left. But, no harm, no foul, I guess. He's not going to lose his life. He's just going to make it safely back to site. But we did see earlier as well, there is a downstairs setup. I believe it's Wi-Fi and David playing for their C4s below. And it seems as if Gusic are keen on clearing this out. We've got 3 players setting up for the downstairs pinch. Wi-Fi positioned all the way over towards Mudroom leaves David alone by kitchen and dining, which could prove dangerous. Especially because Wi-Fi is really not in any position to trade, but As the Iana rotates up to the roof, David does have info to play with. And Valkyrie, mind, they do have Al-Shrady downstairs as well, but there's the first kill. Teddy, just watching the window, cuts down Wi-Fi. That's a C4 gone, a downstairs player gone, and it looks like David now with that death, he's going to get the hell out of there.
That was overall just a really good reader, just good anticipation by Gusic. You saw Wi-Fi the moment he heard that rappel, considering hopping out of the window, and had Teddy not been there, might have been a free kill, but that's exactly what they figured. They said, hey, Baxel, you're putting yourself in a risky position. Let's just have somebody cover your rappel up and see if they do go for that play. Wi-Fi lets his base instincts get the best of him and, well, ends up losing his life. C4 gone as well, but look at that! Nice angle held by Mental, anticipating someone peeking that skylight, and, well, he takes advantage of it. Even drops the question mark in chat, and losing a mute for Iana as well. Utility damage done on both sides of the scoreboard right now, and not a lot of time for Gusic to account for that, because they still have not entered into master bedroom. They've still just now cleared out only part of the roam downstairs, and with none of the walls opened, none of the defenders in sight cleared out, we have less than a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, Gusic have been surprisingly slow in this game so far, not employing their really fast, minute and a half pushes that we saw earlier when they were on stream during the open qual segment. And I guess that's hats off to Valkyrie, maybe, for playing diligently enough to keep them at bay, as Gusic cannot open this wall. They've got nades at their disposal. Never mind, they'll finally send in the burn. Is there going to be any sort of follow-up? Nara's just cooking a flash grenade. Finally, they'll have unlimited come upstairs. But yeah, there's no one to nade off the Electroclaw. So I don't really know why Nar went ahead and burned there when they're not sending their nades over in that direction. Hax will get a kill before he dies to the nade, but in comes Amp. Mental, you got to win that fight. David at least gets the trade. It's another one for Shrady. Amp's the last one left, and he can't do anything. So despite the whiff from Mental, David's still there to clean up. And Valkyrie take a 3-1 lead.
Flawless site rotation for them so far. AVG, then Kitchen, and now Trophy. And what a good round that was. You started out with the kill onto Wi-Fi, but it was traded out by Mental, taking, as you can see, a very nice tight angle onto that skylight, spots the head of back, so he's able to bring that man advantage back, just because Valkyrie simply were not expecting someone to be peeking that skylight. Not as brazen of, say, like on Cafe, but it's still a kill that managed to get. From that point on, the big problem there was the clock itself. And, well, how much Gusic needed to do with how little time. As Harrison aptly pointed out, with less than a minute left, Nar decided, okay, now I'm going to burn the wall so we can nade the Kai charge off. And then they never naded the Kai charge off. Instead, it appeared that everyone was deciding to push bathroom, and honestly, Harrison, maybe they were just trying to flash the player on that wall to facilitate a push into Astro, and then by extension the site. Maybe try to take it quick while Mental's blind. I'm not sure, because that's my only explanation. Because if they wanted to clear the wall, that time had long passed, because with sub a minute left and that charge is still on the wall, you're not getting it open, and because that wall is not open, you're basically stuck pushing through one or two doorways, and if you don't win those fights, that's the round.
Yeah, well done to Valkyrie. They have been looking fierce, especially David. 7-3. Definitely looking much more confident on Villa than they had on Oregon, which is definitely odd considering Oregon was their map pick and Villa was Gusic's. But Gusic are going to drastically switch up how they push as backs. No longer on the Jackal or the Iana. He's playing Monty. Now on Villa, Monty is an interesting pick. On the one hand, with the long corridors on Villa and the wide open rooms, Monty can be a pretty big obstacle for the defense, staring down that shield with not a lot of places to go and fairly safe position for the attackers to hide behind. That's tough to deal with. But at the same time, almost every single floor is destructible. So if you're taking too long as that Monty, you could have an explosive surprise at your feet. But it doesn't look like Valkyrie are playing a C4 downstairs this round. So if they want that kind of presence, they're going to have to rotate someone down. And look at this, Gusic, they know about that vulnerability. So they're going to go ahead and clear downstairs, even setting up air jabs, fully making sure that their Monty is only going to have to deal with the horizontal.
That is really good play and a really good anticipation from Team Gusic of potential objections and counterplays to their setup. Speaking of, you mentioned explosive surprises. The other big one was the nade that Amp set up to that whole nade in bar that, well, was successful, but could have actually still had some capitalization by hacks. That unfortunately was not the case. This time, the nade is sent out to try and clear out the shield, and despite being caught by a magnet, it will blow up that Goyo shield. However, it's a two-pronged push. Some presence on main, but mainly a push by the Montaigne up into Classical and to Books. It will successfully push both defenders back and even cause them to reinforce the wall. All of main stairs in Study has now been ceded to the attack. But again, another problem. A minute, 10 seconds left. They have this map control. They have Study. They have Classical. But Harrison, that's all they have. But with a kill on the hacks, maybe that's enough combined with the Monty to facilitate and execute in the final minute.
Now, Hax does look like he might be recoverable. Oh, and they have rotated David downstairs. So here's that C4 presence we were talking about. If the Monty pushes in, David could potentially find him, but Unlimited's going to get the kill onto Shrady. Wi-Fi trades out, but David goes down. No more C4, but it's a double on the round for the SMG-11 of Wi-Fi. 3v3, make it 3v2 as Hax finds the planter, but Mental goes down. The Monty is dead, though, and that's important. It's now just the Finka and the Nomad, though Finka still has boost. Hax, only one gas canister remaining and very low HP. Here's a nade, though. This could easily find the smoke. It's going to bank its way in, but no, Unlimited actually misses. Hax is just going to hold on with the shotgun as Unlimited creeps closer and closer. He's going to pre-fire, though. The LMG works, hits wonders, and Nars got the case once again. He's got to win the fight against Wi-Fi. He'll see him but for a second and opt to plant safely behind the wall, but the C4 misses. No! Wi-Fi doesn't throw it far enough, and now the LMG sings through. It's keeping Wi-Fi at bay. The plant will go down, and Unlimited will escape through the vault. Now both players holding the crossfire, but it's not gonna matter. The Finka swings out, and Gusic take round 5.
It is another round for Gusic, but to be perfectly frank, it was not without its many problems on their attack. Again, another example, as we've mentioned time and time again, a slow attack by Gusic, and as we saw at the last round, resulted in not a lot of control going their way. They only had Study and main stairs, and what does that allow? It allows the defense to play with impunity inside of 90 and inside and next to Skull Door, which is where Wi-Fi got both of his kills that made it a 3v3 when Gusic tried to push into the site. And that's all because they banked so much on that Monty play and pushing in from that Study side that they didn't have anybody to maneuver over their encounter because of what they were going for. Even then, there was also the risk that the Goyo could creep up those stairs, though it never ended up really netting anything. So while Gusic came away with that, and it was a good round for them by the end, there were still some problems early on that Valkyrie definitely capitalized on and made it very difficult for them to take in the end.
Also, yeah, we have a couple bracket updates.
I've actually been checking. I was wondering.
Yeah, it doesn't update live like the Swiss one does. You have to actually refresh the page.
Oh, okay,
but
that'd be it.
Surf Esports. Wow, who would have guessed? They beat the St. Louis Leviathans 2-0, 7-3, 7-4. So a little bit closer than I actually thought it would be, but still, a 2-0 victory nonetheless. And on the opposite side, Team Mystic, double 7-2s. They 2-0, didn't ask. And who'da thunk, Carter, that our first two teams into the second round are Surf and Mystic?
Our number 1 and number 2 seed? I simply cannot believe it.
The two best teams in T3 considered? Who'da guessed? Also? Sean, Gunner immediately DM'd me. He's like, hey, stream us next. And I was like, I'm sorry, man, we're streaming Surf. And he goes, of course, y'all are haters. And he's mad at me. I'm sorry, Sean. I love you. But also, I'll get you in the normal season. Just call.
Also, that does mean Surf are now 10-0 on maps.
Oh yeah, wow.
Also,
and David is 7-5 because he'll suffer the opening death.
Two opening picks in a row for Unlimited. It's actually funny. Team Gusic have got the opening pick 4 rounds in a row now. The first 2 were Teddy. The second 2 were Unlimited.
Oh yeah, Unlimited's been really good on the Finka so far.
Yes.
Shout out to Unlimited. Actually, in the last map too, he had so many clutch either like plays or revives or heals with the utility. Unlimited's been on top of it. Shout out to Unlimited.
And going here as well, he'll likely have some time because, well, right now they've done a pretty solid job. I don't even say I'm necessarily clearing out the roam with that opening pick, and minute 20 seconds gone on the clock. Everyone from Valkyrie has now removed themselves from the top floor, and they are free, they being Gusic, to start opening up these holes, getting more info on the site players, opening up any walls with those X-Kairos that they want to. And their big problem of course, has been lack of control and not doing much with the control they have. They now have a lot of time and a lot of utility to fix both of those problems. This is shaping up to be a good final round for Gusic if they can make the execute work.
I'm sorry, Sean. Sean said this is favoritism. He spelled it wrong. He said, I don't know how to spell it. But in the meantime, Unlimited is going to get his second kill. Wi-Fi dead. So is Hacks. 2 anchors. 2 people with Plant Denial now dead. Right. And Mental is just going to stare at Teddy holding the hole in the barricade. Bax will be the first death for his team, but it's 4 more kills for Shrady that are needed to win this round because I doubt he's going to win it off time. There's still 40 seconds remaining for Teddy to get this bomb down. And while Mental is far, far afield, even with vertical angles being held, but in comes the pre-fire. Shrady now just 1 HP, finished off by Amp and Gusic. Take round 6. Started as a 3-1 lead for Valkyrie, but we're now even at the half switch.
Not much to talk about in that final round. Despite it getting them a 3-3 half and being fairly important for potentially their chances overall in map number 2, you really can't say much. They got the opening pick. The defense rotated back with, minute 40 left. That's about the time you'd expect them to rotate back. Then at that point, Team Gusic get top floor control, start opening up those sledge holes at the same time as there's a couple people working the top floor. They send a couple people down to Laundry to start working the doorway, and Bicycle as well to start working that angle. Gunfights are taken. Gusic wins them all. It's a fairly cut and dry round in terms of what happened in the early, mid, and late game. So very solid round to end on going into the side swap. Nothing really to complain about on Gusic's side. Rotating to the defense, they'll start out on Kitchen and Dining as their first site. I would say certainly not as common as Trophy Statuary or Aviator Games, but it's not a bad tertiary bomb site by any means. Some teams just like to get it out of the way with. They will run a Capcan on it like we normally see in the Pulse as well. I'd say aside from the Thunderbird is a bit odd, but they did really like to run Teddy on the Thunderbird with the shotgun in basement a lot yesterday in the game against Shadow Realm, so I'd anticipate him to take up a similar position in this game.
Wait. All right, I'm back. Yeah, Teddy on the shotgun was actually really fun. Watching him sprint around with it. I mean, hey, Thunderbird's got the Bearing 9. She has a very competent secondary weapon, and hey, again, with the way people are talking about Teddy is apparently the second coming of Christ, so I wouldn't doubt if he can control that weapon beautifully. And Unlimited still going to be on the Capcan. We saw Mental on it last round. Unfortunately, didn't really do much. We'll see if Unlimited can have some better stock with that. There's 4 C4s on the side of Gusic, lest we forget, as they are defending on Dining, but I don't know how much use they'll see, as Valkyrie seem to be employing a similar horizontal push.
Nobody encountered just yet on the defense. We'll spot a Capcan trap at the last possible second. We'll manage to shoot it. We'll see what the drone in front of him is currently muted, so might be trying to find a way to allow for some increased intel, but there are defenders on every single floor of the map right now. One inside a basement, that's Teddy. A couple on the top floor, that's Unlimited. Maybe Baxel still. We saw the Pulse up there earlier, not sure if he's still there. Teddy also now rotating up to contest the first floor a little bit more. He will be droned out, though, so he will rotate all the way back down into basement. And that second drone could very well have caught his retreat as well. So Valkyrie might be expecting the Thunderbird to creep up any number of the stairs, but he'll creep up Pantry and instead rotate back to the site and help out his team. For Valkyrie, there's still a lot of time to contest these top floor players. Some bullets fired up towards Amp, but nothing really concrete yet. But now finally we see someone moving over outside of Trophy and Statuary. That is Mental on the buck. He's inside a bore right now trying to find an angle, and this could be where the opening tool happens, and it will likely be either Unlimited or Mental who end up falling.
Amp will actually be the one to follow, as Mental gets the kill. So hey, still one of the players you mentioned, only on the opposite side. Now down goes your Malusi. Now, funny enough, that was not your C4 operator. Any of them. You've still got all 4 at Valkyrie, as Valkyrie have kind of swapped to a pseudo upstairs take. But Bax, all right, he thought the punch hole in painting was sneaky, but that wall is very lightly colored, meaning that that dark hole is pretty damn obvious. Teddy will actually not get droned here. David's holding the angle, but Teddy has not been spotted. And he's just going to chill. Staring at the wall, of course, as to not give his position away with the laser sight. Unlimited will come in to help. He's going to get the C4, but no, David just walks right in. Though Teddy does get the refrag, and he's going to look for more, but he turns his back just in the wrong time. But the attacker doesn't push him. Mental Sense has gone down, and Nar is going to eat some damage from over towards Memo. He's going to need to rely on Teddy to hold this, but Shrady, he is just going to walk in. Bearing 9 out, Teddy gets the frag, but he's going to need another. It's a triple kill, but through the bomb chassis and the luggage, Mental takes the head as he was just recently revived. That's going to be Valkyrie. We taking the advantage.
Very good round to start things out as well. Clear out the top floor pretty quickly. I think it was about a minute. Or a minute 20, minute 30 seconds that it took them to not only get that opening kill, but then to progress on that top floor. As you see, Baxel did eventually rotate back to site, but kind of give his life away. Might have been a little problematic throughout that round. I know he started upstairs early on. Don't know if he rotated late, but still, giving your life away when Pulse is one of the most impactful operators on Kitchen when teams bring him. If you really wanted to make that punch hole, maybe send somebody else instead, especially with the C4. There was certainly a misplay there. But at that point, it was kind of a mirror of Gusic's attack of that round in round number 6. They got the top floor control. They got 2 picks. They started opening up everything they wanted, started transitioning. Sure, it's from the opposite side. It was from Memorial and Living Room Library as opposed to, say, Bicycle and Laundry like Gusic's was. But it was the same steps. You got the vertical, they transitioned to the horizontal, they won the gunfights they needed to, they transitioned it into a victory. Despite Teddy's best efforts, it's always difficult to clutch a 1v4, and he only got 2 bodies before he was eventually taken down.
Well done to Valkyrie. I really thought Teddy was going to have to play there, too. He looked like he was about to, like, pop off, but...
Me too, but there were just too many people. Too many people you had to deal with.
5 seconds to go.
And we're all inside the site, too.
Yeah, Nar was caught between quite the rock and a hard place, especially not expecting Shrady to Chad walk at him. I didn't expect it either. Big ups to Shrady. That kill from Shrady was really the solidifier for that round, being able to take out Nar like that. So, well done to Shrady. He's certainly been the highlight player, I think, for Valkyrie.
I'd say so.
These last couple maps. Well done.
Him and David both had some good moments.
Yeah, David. This map in particular, Shrady both, but which is cool. I've not casted Shrady yet either, so this is.
I have not either.
I'm glad to see him doing well.
Well, going forward here, Bax will hear some early destruction made outside on the bathroom window, but he won't challenge it. Knows he does not need to, as it is a it's an extension up to the top floor. They're holding it very aggressively. You can see Amp holding behind that panel as well. It's actually not onto the top floor. It's over on the top floor inside a trophy statuary. But about a minute is about when you want to start rotating off. Baxel will get a drone, but yeah, here staying a minute inside a trophy statuary is always a little bit risky. So good on the Malusi to get out, and it's about as standard of first minute as you can get for an extension in a trophy statuary on an Aviator Games defense.
Yep, no engagements coming from either side. Understandable. Besides playing relatively passive, the defense is playing for the fall off rather than the fight. And they're all over towards the south side of the building. Not pushed up too far. Amp was kind of dancing with death on the skull door, but he'll fall back. And Bax is really the most pushed up defender, and that's just in 90, and he's going to very quickly fall back into the site. There's a shield watching Classical Hall, but that's really all the defense has got watching this direction. Everyone is playing very, very passive. And Hacks, I imagine, will be separating from the pack, deviating towards the study balk, so he can go ahead and get his hard reach down on those study walls, establish the crossfire into sight, stop the player in vault from being able to swing the planter, yada yada yada. That's what you typically expect from an attack like this, and you can hear the barricade being busted open by Hacks, and he's going to go ahead and send his breach in very soon, I would imagine. Now, Mental gets taken out, though. Teddy just simply swings the doorway as mute and dumpsters the Ash. Down he goes. I'm not quite sure if the shield in the hallway got taken out yet either. Judging by how Unlimited is playing, I have to assume no, but Teddy gets a little bit over-eager. David will fry him, and we're back to even.
After complimenting the shot in chat, and as of right now, well, another nice one comes out. Hacks maybe getting a little bit careless, watching that pressure inside a study. Bax will take advantage of that and gets a key angle to deny the push in through Skull Door. Combined with the players to his left as well, well, one pushes up aggressively in Vault, catches Shrady off guard, and now as the only element of coverage is David, well, they actually both manage to get a kill until they're shut down by Amp. Now David, the only one left, not a lot of ammo in that ARX, and unfortunately for him, Amp gets the best of him inside of Vault. Very close. It came down by Wi-Fi and David, but again, in a 2v4, all you have to do is play the trades, and that's what Team Gusic end up doing, and they'll increase their lead. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Even things up.
Yeah, Valkyrie there, taking a bit too long, especially their study presence, not doing anything at all. Hacks just kind of dying immediately. Well done to Gusic for, of course, Teddy getting aggressive pretty early on, and then, you know, he died, but he still got the opening pick. And through those gas canisters, the angle being held by Amp, as well as Bax, just sitting, watching the Skull Door, staring at Valkyrie, funnel and bottleneck their way in. I mean, that's a pretty easy attack to counter. Now we're back to even. 4-4. With Gusic now on Trophy. And once again, they've got this Pulse. They've got 2 C4s. So you can bet that they're going to be playing downstairs, and it's going to be on Valkyrie to clear these 2 players out before it's too late.
This was a setup they ran yesterday as well, so haven't changed much up in the day. Of course, I don't really expect them to. It's Qualifier, and it's only been one day. Makes sense. They'd like to run the strat that they're comfortable with, and as you said, they do like to run that Pulse downstairs, and they do usually have someone play by him, but I do remember there were a couple times where he was a little bit isolated down below, so it could, depending on the timing, provide an opportunity for Valkyrie to get an early pick on a defender stuck on an island, depending on where Team Gusic are positioned at any given time. He does also, as you can see, like to start out in basement, kind of like Teddy likes to do on kitchen defenses, so if Valkyrie are quick about this, they could get an opening duel before much time has even passed.
Amp is all the way by study. Oh, Bax. Okay, Bax is in the basement. So you can see, I think, up to the balcony from basement, kind of like almost like on consulate. And okay,
They just didn't drown.
all right,
That's good. That's what we want to see.
Shrady.
So,
I
remember
don't
how
really know what to say to that.
You remember how I said that Baxter likes to play with him? Remember I said Baxter likes to play by himself? That's a clip. That's gonna be a clip right there. Changing topics entirely.
Yeah, what were you? Sorry, what was that?
You know how
What did you mean to say?
You know how Baxter likes to play by? I said Baxter likes to play by himself in
Yes.
basement. Yeah, he was by himself and they just didn't drone him. Now Shrady's dead. Your buck. Could he gotten some vert if he went in the kitchen? Now that just can't happen.
Yeah. No more upwards vertical play, unless you can somehow stick a breaching charge to the roof.
Hey, but on the bright side, he's back there. You can still continue to gain intel on anybody playing on that balcony or anybody playing inside a kitchen, and it actually appears, based on how they're playing, that they are unaware he's retaken this position. Teddy will get a kill, and he'll shoot the air jab creep on up. Did they hear? It appears they are still not aware.
Oblivious.
Mental sprinting around, oblivious, as you said, the word of the day when it comes to this situation. Of Baxter's presence with a minute left.
Oh,
He's in a bit of a tricky spot right now, but he can gain a lot of intel, and if he dies, they still have the man advantage.
He also, though, doesn't know there's a guy in Mudroom, and unfortunately the C4 will miss. So now Valkyrie should be privy to the fact that there might be this guy downstairs. Never mind, David is focused.
I think Gusic are getting the lead on this one.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
I think Gusic are getting the lead on this one. Alright, Gusic got the lead on that one. So to break down that round, we started out rough with no droning in basement. I get that it's not a common position for people to play in basement, but you do need to check it. It's something you gotta just check, because there's always a chance somebody's playing down there, and unfortunately they didn't do that. Wi-Fi also falls to Teddy somewhere inside the site. Don't exactly know what happened there. Maybe just got peeked inside of Astro. Then David nades himself. That's really all you could say about that. It's 2v5. Team Gusic, they decided to get aggressive. They probably didn't need to, but they win the fights anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's a flawless round. Not a great one from Valkyrie. What'd you say?
I didn't like that round.
I just can't imagine why.
You had
Teddy's got 13 kills, though.
Trady jump in. You had the entire attack oblivious to the pulse. You had,
To be fair, the pulse was also oblivious to the entire attack.
well, yeah, you had as well.
Neither party knew the other was there.
After the pulse, threw up the C4. That was not there previously. Remember? Because they had already cleared. They knew downstairs, or they had thought downstairs was clear. There were no pre-placed nitro cells. So therefore, if a nitro cell later blew up from underneath, that means someone would have to be downstairs in the vicinity of
That's
that
fine, because
C4.
David had the nade.
And yet David was nading, or I guess attempting to nade Astro. And just killed himself.
Here's
He
the...
didn't throw it. He just...
It happens.
David, man.
Here's the night.
What? What?
So Baxel gets away with it. He just
What?
rotates out. He'll be thanking his lucky stars that he did not die there by some miraculous feat.
Bax get away with that? He is...
And now he's full health again.
He was
Those are the Kona stations.
captaining the window.
On the bright side, though, that does mean that
Disbelief.
Valkyrie can get some free control inside a living room and library. And if they want to, later rotate up top. I mean, that's what got them their first round, Harrison, was quick control of this horizontal floor, rotating up to the top floor as well. I mean, despite that, because of the Kona stations, it's like nothing happened.
Attackers have located a bomb.
All right. Well, hopefully nothing like that happens ever again.
It will. It's a long night.
Don't say that. Please. Wi-Fi and Mental are duo taking the top floor. They're gonna have to deal with Amp. Amp will nearly deal with Mental, but he'll have to settle for just a body shot on the Ash before Mental immediately backs on the hell out of there. 2 C4s now as well have been wasted from Gusic. Bax and Teddy no longer with those in their pocket, though Bax is doing battle against the players over towards the living room doorway. Hax is looking to get aggressive. Never mind, he actually has his X-Kairos out. Thought he was going to peek in. But because there's no top control, all of those X-Kairos will simply just get shot. Trady is going to go ahead and open up painting, making way for Mental, but he will just suffer damage at the hands of Bax once again. Valkyrie just cannot get a foothold in terms of these fights at all, and Mental is very scared of perhaps some flank coming up from the basement. David and Hax are dueling in living room. Mental trying to make his way through painting. He will finally jump in, but he'll have to fight against Teddy, who has been an absolute menace on the T-Bird shotgun and bearing 9 combo. But Wi-Fi, he one-taps unlimited. Good night to the Mozzie. I don't know where the hell that was. I think that was actually upstairs. But you're not going to have to deal with that C4 anymore. And I don't believe Teddy is aware of Mental. This could be a freebie, but no, he'll shoot at the cap can, and it's not even Teddy to get the kill. It'll be Gnar. So they still don't know the Thunderbird is here. Hax is completely oblivious, and there's the kill, despite Teddy eating damage earlier. Trady comes in for the refrag, but he'll die to the second player coming in from Memo. But now it's a 1v3. The man count completely turning in the favor of Valkyrie. Amp is so low, but the plant has to be stuck from Wi-Fi, and he's got the top control, but does he have the info? No. It'll go down, and Amp now jumping through the hatch gets the kill on David. Down to 1v1, but Wi-Fi is more than healthy now playing around towards Tetris. Is going to have to be an immediate headshot from Amp, but he can't see him, and Valkyrie take round 10.
It was a bit, well, not a bit. It was a lot sloppier than their first attack on Kitchen in that, well, before they got all the vertical control they wanted, they got the horizontal control they wanted as well, and it was a 1v4 come the site push. Them, of course, being the 4 part of that side. But this go-round was not nearly as clean-cut as you saw by the first engagement. All right, well, we're going to have a pause there. Don't know what the hell just happened to Bax. But going forward there, of course, you had the whiffed engagement on the cap can. You had a much, much slower top floor clear, and that, well, there really wasn't much of one at all. But as sometimes happens, and as fate would sometimes have it, they get the kills. Valkyrie managed to find and, well, one tap Unlimited, who I believe was still playing, might have been playing upstairs, could have started to rotate back down. But instead, Valkyrie, despite the lack of vertical presence, they push on in. They managed to win those gunfights and eventually get the bomb down. It was a hell of a lot closer, but they managed to win those gunfights and they still made it through. But overall, it was not a great round from them, but it was passable enough. And it, well, they just... the odds happen to go in their favor with the gunfights.
Yeah, I really thought Gusic was going to take that too. It looked like it was completely in their favor. It was another two timing. A lot of timing that just so happened to work out in Valkyrie's favor with pushes, people turning their backs, double ups as well. We sit at 5-5. Valkyrie, although they haven't looked utterly fantastic, they look better than Oregon. That's what we can say, right? They look better than Oregon. There has been improvement. Woo! Woo! And they have a chance on this map. I think Valkyrie could potentially take Villa. We might be going to map 3. And if we go to map 3, that's Coastline.
One issue I do have, though, is the only two sites they've won are Kitchen. That round was a lot weaker than their first one, and the other two sites Gusic have both won. So Gusic, they could go back to Kitchen. I doubt that they would, but they've won Aviator Games and they won Trophy Statuary. Aviator Games was also a pretty solid round for them. I do think there's potential they could take it, but because that round wasn't particularly great from Valkyrie, in fact, it was a regression from the first one that we saw, and Gusic looked extremely good on this site, I think it's possible you go to map number 3, but it's gonna be really close and require Gusic to look a lot worse on AVG or Trophy than they have previously.
And speaking of AVG, that's where we'll be going back to. Gusic, they've looked rather confident on their defense here. So they played very passively on their extension, which I like. They played more for the time rather than the fights. They fall back. They play their utility. And when it comes down to it, Valkyrie are forced to do nothing but rush in which case Gusic already have all their guns pointed in that direction. So we'll see if they choose to extend over towards Master again. I mean, they didn't really have much utility dedicated to it last time, so I imagine Bax is just going to be there, shoot a couple drones, fall off. One of the big things that we can highlight from Valkyrie, and one of the big mess-ups, though, is their lack of really any sort of utility being shoved into the site. I mean, I think the shield on Classical stayed up for quite a long time before it was dealt with. So hopefully we see earlier utility play from the attack to, again, you know, make that space for them to actually set up for a proper push.
Starting out with a similar extension in Trophy Statuary, Baxter will get aggressive on that window, but nobody's repelled on it, so there's no real capitalization they can get from it, and they're really taking this pretty standard to how they have previously, attacking on that bottom floor to help out with the master bedroom clear. Not at all a rarity in terms of just the overall play on Villa, but also what we've seen from Valkyrie so far in this game and so far in this tournament so far. They're not meeting any resistance from Gusic at the moment, but there are players positioned on that top floor to provide that very same resistance. Before, when they defended the Aviator Games, they rotated at about 2 minutes left, a minute into the round. We're reaching close to that clock. Maybe they'll decide to stay a little bit longer because of the lack of pressure they felt so far. Teddy's certainly about to feel something. You see the Ash slowly creeping up, but both him and the Buck will instead decide try and pinch out the Malusi, the Alibi, and the Mute, who are all still by Trophy and Statuary.
Oh, Amp is going to get the first frag, this time staying a little bit longer than in the previous attempt. Remember, it was about a minute before they had completely rotated off, but Amp, he stays his position, and down goes Mental. 4 and 9. Not nearly as well of a performance as we saw in Oregon. And, well, they've lost explosive utility. Remember, that shield was up for quite a long time, and now they might have an even more difficult time trying to displace that. But I believe that's Hax is already on the Study Repel much earlier than he was last time, and hopefully he doesn't, you know, repel right up to the balcony and die to Bax again.
Let's hope. That would certainly be an improvement. Does spot the foot of the Melusi, so even if he dies, we at least know he's not going in unaware of the Melusi's presence. Well, even prone to go for the drone. Rotates off, and unfortunately for the Hibana, going to have to be weary of her presence, whether or not she has rotated out or if she is still inside a study. Good thing here, they do have this 90 control and control of Skull Doors, so they have that northern side of the map on lock, and same with Study as well. You can make an execute happen here, but it's going to be difficult. In a 4v5, still with smokes and a C4 on the board as well, Teddy's getting aggressive and giving himself up to the Study angle, so you need to play close to make that work, but Baxel has rotated back in. Thankfully there's Shrady to take him down, but he's already done enough damage. He's thwarted the attack for just a little bit longer, but look at this. Wi-Fi's evaded the smoke, getting the plant down on risk. He decides to get off, likely because his team is slowly falling around him. He'll finally commit. The smoke canister will land. It might be doing a little bit of damage. Yes, it is. They'll finally take him down as he gets off the plant, and Shrady falls as well. It's match point for Gusic. He'll down Gnar for, I don't know, good luck. And all they need to do now is win trophy statuary, and they'll take the series 2-0.
Is he gonna... Oh, I thought he was gonna murder his teammate. Well done to Gusic. Once again, the roam working wonders, staying a little bit longer than they had previously, but not getting over-aggressive. Amp got the kill and immediately fell back. There was no chance for a trade from Valkyrie. And once again, no utility being sent into sight. Hibana, she couldn't hard breach onto the wall because of the player inside of Study, had to just settle for the pre-made holes. I mean, she lit up Teddy, but didn't end up doing anything. Eventually dies on the Balk. Bax is able to get his kill on the Skull Door player. I think that was David. And everything falls apart for Valkyrie once again because they are forced into the bottleneck. Wi-Fi has to plant, and Shrady is left to cover against like 4 freaking people. And Gusic now leads 6-5. They're going back to Trophy Stat, where
Trophy stat?
Yeah.
Is that a new one?
It's just shorter.
Fair enough.
Where Gusic looked confident. Valkyrie didn't look good.
Nope. They did not. As this was the famous round where there was a pulse in basement that they did not drone. David naded himself. In between that, somebody else died. Overall, not the best showing for Valkyrie. Now, they do know the pulse is in basement, the drone is shot, but they at least have that bit of intel. So hopefully we won't see Shrady just give himself up, vaulting into a window. And if they are going to clear out the pulse inside a basement, it'll be a bit more coordinated. Moreover, in a large part of that round tumbling out of control after that was just by some sheer mechanical mistakes by the players, nading themselves. As long as they start out just aware and trying to deal with or minimize the pulse and the roamers in general off-site, it'll be a good start, and I can die happy. Well, maybe not die, but, you know, I'll be happy.
Counterpoint. What if Bax just gets a freebie again?
No. He's upstairs, and Shrady's entering basement this way.
That's true. They've learned. Valkyrie
Actually,
have
wait.
learned.
Wait,
Did you just not hear that?
Okay.
All right.
So, there was a freebie.
Okay.
Has there been anything good happening inside a basement?
No.
Alright.
Nothing good ever happened in the basement. But, well, that's Pulse dead. That is the info now dead. So you don't really have to worry about the C4 from below unless Teddy lands something biblical with no info.
Unlimited gets a kill here.
That's true. Unlimited could also get a kill. Very slim angle he's holding. He's not going to find anyone just yet. The Electro Claw, though, will be dealt with. That's different, too. He'll actually get the shock charge. So you can no longer... the defense can no longer deny that wall. But Amp can deny the entry from David. He just waltzes downstairs. There is literally a drone on him.
There was a drone on
him. And the Iana gets slammed. Amp also, again, smartly, will just simply fall back. He's not going to press his luck. And as Teddy finds Wi-Fi, the situation, although it started out better for Valkyrie, is now slipping away.
it is deteriorating by the second. That's Teddy's 16th kill of the game so far, understanding why he is so well renowned. Nar not having as great a game, but still positive. I'll take it. It's a 3v4 right now for Valkyrie moving into the final minute. Amp can just rotate back to the side if he wants to. Big player right here, Shrady, holding this angle from below, can still contain a lot of the defense if he wants to create more angles or watch the rotation into Astronomy or in between Trophy and Statuary. He could do some work by himself. The only problem is because of the men they've lost, that would mean that Mental and Hacks are pushing the site alone. And there are still players on these vertical angles. In fact, Unlimited is right there, and he looks away. He cannot find the head of the Jaeger. Instead, he might just decide to push up Astro, which he would have a friend in Mental if he decides to go that way. Yes, he will commit, but Unlimited is currently behind a shield. They do have the utility to deal with it, a flashbang and an Ash charge to go. But now that it's been destroyed, there's only 15 seconds left. You're walking directly into all of these crossfires that have all been dealt with. The Jaeger on red behind Astro.
What?
You didn't kill him, Mental. You have to take him down. He just looks away. I can't even explain that one for you, but I don't really need to. It's a 2-0 for Gusic, a more dominant scoreline on their opponent's map pick than their own. They will move on to the final round, the open quals. Or, well, final game.
That was a weird one. That was an odd game. Teddy stepping up, though, 16-9. Beautiful stuff from him. Even if a lot of the game was...
Also, Harrison.
Yeah.
We do have an update as well. I believe simultaneous with this game ending, we also have another result. Wichita Wolves Academy 2-0 Aerial Arise Academy, and they will be playing Surf Esports.
Oh! That'll be our next game, I believe.
But anyway, back to the game. I just wanted to update real quick.
I don't really want to talk about this game.
I mean, we need to dedicate at least a little bit of time to it. It is, of course, 2-0 for Team Gusic. I believe a lot of people expected this result, thought maybe it could be close, but while it did seem that Valkyrie had a chance in this, on their attacking half, it really seemed like all they could get anything going on was Kitchen, but beyond that, Aviator Games and Trophy Statuary, a lot of the times they were simply too slow and not able to get enough utility dealt with. I mean, you saw in that final round, not dealing with the Astro Shield until literally the final 20 seconds of the round. Despite Team Gusic also making their fair share of mistakes on mainly the attack, but the defense as well. There were too many made by Valkyrie that were capitalized on by Team Gusic, and a lot of the problems on Oregon were still prevalent for them on Villa as well.
The nade. Yeah, Valkyrie, they got to go back to the drawing board for a lot of this. And I will say, the rounds in which Valkyrie won were very well played by Valkyrie, you know?
Agreed.
They had flashes of brilliance, but Gusic were just more consistently solid, I guess I would say. They were more put together for most of Villa, pretty much all of Oregon. I think the big thing we can take away is that the rounds in which Gusic lost were not necessarily on huge round-changing mistakes from their own side. It was just better play from their opponent. And if that doesn't scream a team who has their fundamentals down, I don't know what does.
And of course, I'd say said about all we can about that series. Again, it was not a quick 2-0, but certainly one that seemed that Gusic were in control of throughout the entirety of the game. Even you said there were flashes of brilliance, but even on those kitchen rounds, they seemed to win. It still came down to pushing sometimes the final minute, final 30 seconds. Overall, it's a very solid 2-0 by Gusic. But before we either get into the next game, cut to something, whatever, do want to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, one of our sponsors, Mike and Ike's. I showed my boxes earlier. It's the only fruit candy that I actually like. And if you want to, I would say, I was going to make a joke about EJ playing, but EJ actually kind of did some dumb things in his one appearance in this series so far. So if you want to be more like Teddy, for example, certainly power up your games with Mike and Ike's, either the Mega Mix or just the regular green box. You can tell the Mega Mix is blue, regular's green, whichever one you want to go for. They'll always help you power up your game, and also actually pretty good. And that's saying a lot for somebody who not only doesn't like fruit candy, also doesn't like fruit. So you can at least take that. That is high praise coming from me. Harrison can attest. I only like grapes and apples, and that's about it.
Which is really weird.
I also like pineapples on shrimp tacos, which is a really specific example, but that just goes to show how low my fruit love is. rather eat Brussels sprouts than strawberries.
Pineapple
one-
and shrimp tacos.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect you. But our next game up, as I'm sure Harrison mentioned earlier, we were going to be casting that second round game between Surf and whoever won. In this case, it will be Surf versus Wichita Wolves Academy. I think that's a bit of a surprise. I know I personally thought Ariel would come away with that, but I did think out of all of the games going on, it would have been the closest one. But we specifically didn't cast that game, so we could cast Surf versus whoever ended up winning it. So that is the game we will have momentarily. Until then, Harrison, we will be going to a quick break. And I'm excited to see who ends up playing because I think whoever wins this is likely going to be one of the big contenders to look out for